and welcome to Shredded Cels, episode 29. I am your host, Alex Schmitz, and with me here today is Matt Lunn.
Yeah!
Jeremy Zajac.
Hello.
Clara Heimberger.
My ears are cold.
Well, you're wearing a hat.
That's why I'm wearing a hat.
Cute hat.
Thank you.
And
Her ears are on fire.
Kenneth McNulty.
It's survival of the fittest, Leonard.
So,
I'm pretty sure that just revealed what we're doing today.
If you don't already know.
Yeah, we talked about it on the last podcast, so people who listen already know.
Spoilers, no.
Well, hey, there's spoilers for you. I don't listen.
But apparently I'm the only one who listens. Like,
Yep.
no one else listens
I'm
to it except for
Any
me.
of the podcasts.
Aw.
we have one.
It's true. And for those of you listening to us for the first time, we are part of Tech Edge, which is part of AVW Productions, a media production organization here at Ohio University. We do all sorts of good stuff on video games. We've got a blog. We've got iTunes. We've got a YouTube page. We do all sorts of fun stuff. But we're here today to talk about anime, because that's what we talk about here on Shredded Cels, because we're the best podcast in all of Tech Heads.
I thought this was sports.
Yeah, I thought this
Sports.
was Xbox. Am I the
No,
host?
but
I
it's
thought
not even.
this was Cooking Mama.
It's not even called Xbox anymore.
What are we cooking
apparently.
today,
Yeah,
Clara?
it's TKA. It's even better now.
Spaghetti.
By the way, if you want to listen to other podcasts now.
No, don't plug it.
Anyways, don't betray it. Okay. Well.
Yes,
Survival of
but
the fittest, Leonard.
if you couldn't figure it out, we're going to be talking about a few different subjects today. First being the terrible, terrible movie called Food Fight,
The greatest masterpiece ever.
the one that Kenny was quoting to start off the
Good movie.
podcast.
It's a good movie.
Then we'll be talking about a film called Redline, which we've mentioned before, but we've never actually done like an in-depth actual discussion
I'm
about it.
surprised Mark didn't want to do it because he was really adamant about that.
Well, I'm sure he would have liked to be on, but we can only have 5 people, so what are you
yeah.
gonna do? Have to be
Survival.
if
sacrifices.
we had another microphone, we could.
Oh, if only.
Well, we
If
could have just kicked
only.
off Alex.
Oh, so you'd run the podcast in my place,
oh
Jeremy?
my god, that
Mutiny!
Well, we'd be done in 35 minutes.
Mutiny!
Probably true.
Mutiny!
And then finally, we're going to talk about the final episode of Psychopaths, which just came out a few hours
Ding,
ago.
it was good stuff.
Such
Indeed.
good
It wasn't even
stuff.
on Hulu yet when I watched. I had to go to a different website.
Yeah,
I saw it
did you
on
go to the
Hulu.
one I sent you?
No, I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
I
that
just searched on
works
Google
too.
and the first one sent me to it.
Cool. But before we get into all of that good stuff, let's talk about the animation we've watched since last time. Matt,
Alex
why
is
don't you
mad.
start us off?
Seen some Darker Than Black. Some more One Piece. I don't know. I'm in an
Set sail.
anime burnout.
Yeah, so you're telling me you've just been watching so much that you're like, I need to get away from it for a while.
I mean, I consume and watch the anime industry normally, so I'm going to Vigima Games. I'm going to get a limited edition Pikachu XL 3DS. I just completely said that out of order, but whatever. So, and I'm going to get me some Luigi's Mansion.
You have to say it like that. Luigi's Mansion.
I apologize to all our listeners for that. From the bottom of my heart.
Luigi's Mansion.
I'm sorry.
If we get
I'm
nervous,
so
Can we
sorry.
like hum on your podcast? Do we get nervous?
Wait, what?
If we get nervous on your podcast, can we hum?
Sure.
All right.
If you don't spike the
you
mics,
know
that's
you
okay.
can't
Do we sound
hum
like, then we
and
can sound
hold your
like we
nose
can
at
be
the
playing
same
Need for
time.
Speed and go.
Try to hum and then hold your nose.
I
You
was
can't do
thinking
it.
more like the monks that just sort of go.
That's boring.
Years you don't mean it.
Well, have
Yeah.
you played Luigi's Mansion?
Don't know
Actually,
these
I've played a
requiem.
little bit of it, but I never
Bump.
beat the whole game.
You know how he hums when he gets nervous.
Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah,
he
see,
does.
You don't do that, Alex?
Ah,
Yeah, come on, dude.
No,
I
I
actually,
thought
always
I don't.
everyone
theme
did
song.
that when they're nervous.
Well-
or they'll just sing to themselves.
Yeah,
Well,
I hum
like,
through the fire and the
In that case, though, if you're like scared in a mansion, you probably would want to be silent so the ghosts don't hear
No,
you.
dude, you want to kick down the door and say, no, you're there. And they're like, crap, this guy means business. And they run because you suck them up with your Exterminator 5000.
Is that what it's called?
I haven't played it. Sorry. It looked cool, though. It was like, wee.
Alrighty then. Jeremy, what have you been watching animation-wise?
Not much, unfortunately. I've been very busy. I'm still watching through Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Yes.
Nice.
I've also started. What is it?
Challenge Showdown.
No, not Challenge Showdown. That's Mark.
Don't
I was
need
wondering if you watched it
senpai.
with him.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that.
Oh God, I can't even think what it is right now. It's gonna bother me now. It is going to bother me a lot that I can't think of what it is right now. I was just talking about it during dinner too.
You were. Gosh, I swear that you've mentioned it to me too, but I can't think of what it is.
Ni hao kai later.
Let's hope
Yes.
not.
I don't know. I'm throwing
Isn't
out
that
shots.
like the Chinese Dora the Explorer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never.
Samurai Jack.
I can't say I've
No.
watched
Is it
that
like
one.
a classic cartoon or an anime?
I Guys, I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Don't
Maybe
worry.
Matt or Alex remember.
Mid podcast, you're just gonna have it. You're gonna have
We'll
it.
think of it eventually,
Maybe.
maybe or not. You know, it will remain a mystery forever. One of the lost secrets of Shredded Cels.
Right when you turn it off. you'll know.
Clara, how about you?
This week has not been very free for me, so I've only had time.
She's been shackled in chains,
yeah,
working
every
for the
day.
university to pay her tuition.
Every day of my life.
Every day.
Every day. I'm
Mostly I've been I've tried to get in a couple X-Files because I'm into that right now. And I enjoy it thoroughly.
Solid.
Fox Mulder is a handsome devil.
Not animation, but we'll count
I
it,
know,
guess.
but that's just what
Hey,
I've
I've
been
been
watching.
watching
Scully kinda
Person of
bothered me
Interest.
when I watched that show.
Well, she gets better.
Person of interest.
No, it can't be that way. You just saw it happen that way. How can it not be that way?
Because she's the skeptic, and that's what they do.
I understand skepticism, but she takes it to that extreme. It's like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. I can't see it, so it's
She's
not happening.
scared to acknowledge the truth. Anyways, I've been watching. I showed my friends the entire first season of Bravest Warriors again.
Yeah.
I made them fall in love with Catbug.
Oh yeah,
again.
I
It
did
doesn't
see
take
that
long.
too
I
this
think it's one
week.
episode.
The
Oh,
Bravest
Bravest
Warriors.
Episode 3, but sells people.
Yeah.
They had butter cabbage today. It was so cool. I ate it.
Oh, that's great. Butter or locally grown butter lettuce.
Butter lettuce party.
Oh,
It's pretty
Wankersham.
amusing.
Okay,
I'm not
then.
an Adventure Time guy, but I like this.
It's fantastic.
I am gonna watch it eventually. Although
Liz.
I have to say, Jeremy, with your little comment earlier about was it Scully being a super
Yeah.
skeptic? Maybe think back to the topic from last week from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. In the episode where Kaiba gets shown his past by a Shizu, and he basically has all this proof hitting him right in the face that like all this magic and stuff is real, and he's like,
no.
now Kaiba, do you understand the truth about your past? And he says, because I'm the most skeptical person in the world, I choose to say no. You know, makes the point like, even though Kaiba's presented with ridiculous proof that all this is real, he refuses to believe it until like the last episode.
That's not skepticism at that point. That's just willful. That's just
Denial.
willful. Denial. Thank you.
And I'm a ghost.
Am I? Dun, dun, dun. But that's about it.
Okay, how about you, Kenny?
Just what we need to watch for this podcast.
Oh yeah,
So-
and
Busy Beaver as well.
Oh, so you did you
and
finish
a
Redline?
psychopath.
30 minutes. I didn't get to see the Great Race. I saw everything up to the Great Race, and I had to leave.
Aw, but that's the best part.
I know.
Hey, I just give him my hard drive so
Power
he can watch the rest.
Yeah, but I do know how it ends.
Yes.
He can see the beauty in
Wait,
HD.
Did you
Power of
watch
Love.
the end?
No, I should talk to them about it.
Oh, okay.
Power of Love beats everything. Dude, this is
Yeah,
a song about
we'll
it.
get to
Come
that.
on.
As for myself, like everyone else here, I've been pretty busy this week prepping for my film too. So I watched Psychopaths, obviously, Redline. We actually watched Food Fight. Was it before the spring break that we all got together and watched it?
I saw it afterwards.
Yes.
With
Jeremy-
another friend.
Man, so Jeremy, you watched Food Fight twice within like a few week period. How does that
4
make
times actually.
you? 4?
Who did
Really?
you show?
Who else did you show?
Well, one time I showed it to my brother, and one time I forced myself to watch it by myself.
But,
Why?
But were those all within recently? Wow.
Why would you make it do?
Why would you do
Twice
that?
over spring break.
Why would you
But
do
why
that to yourself?
Like I don't
Why
understand.
would you watch it?
He likes self-inflicting pain.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
It's
you're a
what makes
masochist.
GG.
Did you at least have snacks while you watched it?
No.
Oh God,
Oh,
no!
no.
Not snacks.
You can't not do without snacks.
Brand X.
Guacamole makes it
One
better.
store, one X.
Oh God.
No, someone in my class, they brought up Brand X. It just has any kind of brand, but she said Brand X, and I was like, oh no. They're like, I had horrible flashbacks and start shaking.
Nice.
So-
And I've also
PTSD.
It was the worst.
I also was watching Oron High School Host Club because we talked about that on the Top 10 TV Shows podcast, and I decided to give the first episode another chance. And going into it the second time, I actually enjoyed it more, and I've been watching the show. It's not my favorite thing ever, but it is pretty funny, I have to admit. You know, I laugh out at a lot of the jokes, so I'm enjoying that.
You'll
The
love
dub is
Bravest
great.
Warriors. You'll love Bravest Warriors.
I like the one episode I saw. I admitted
what
that on
episode
last
did he
podcast.
see?
The season finale.
Okay, yes.
What's the finale?
Yeah, I was in the
right, we
room,
all watched
remember?
it.
Sugar peas.
Okay! That's a shirt.
Put a fence around it.
Put a blanket on it.
The one thing I was thinking, though, it's sort of sad, but whoever that kid is that's the voice actor,
He's 6 now.
yeah, but his voice is going to change soon, so he won't be able to voice act that character for too long.
It'll stay for a while. It'll still have the same voice.
Yeah,
He'll be fine for at least the next 2 years, Alex.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Probably
And
the
then
next
they can
3
find
years.
another little short call, you little boy, and
But it
say,
won't
you
be
can
the
be the
same.
Matter, Cat Bug will get
you
older.
you can get a voice like that pretty.
He'll have a transformation like Cosmo and James did.
But
Cosmo Fairly Odd Parents and James in Pokemon. It went from
Yeah.
more serious to ridiculously goofy throughout the season, and
Well-
then stayed there.
What I was thinking was from the original Fullmetal Alchemist, the boy who played Alphonse, they actually had a kid playing him,
Alphonse.
and he did a great job. And then by the time it came around to do Brotherhood, he had like grown up and had like a super manly voice, so they actually got
Even
a,
in the
a
dub of
woman
that
to do
film,
it.
which you have yet to see, his voice is like borderline, like it's barely passable that they're using him for the film, but they used
Right,
him
I've heard
anyways.
about that. That his voice sort of even
It's
gets
cracking.
deeper over the course of the show. So there you go. Now we're gonna get on to the one of the three main topics for this week. We're gonna start off with the worst and work our way up. So
Alex,
yes,
fun fact: Alex always wears red shirts at podcasts.
Oh my god, you're right.
I have a lot of
It's true.
I have a lot of
Found the
red
man to
shirts.
sacrifice.
But,
Send him out the well,
so you're saying I'm one of the red shirts from Star Trek?
none
Walking
of us are wearing
Dead.
red shirts. I'm wearing the science uniform. I'm Spock. So I mean, we can just keep
Oh,
going
a science
here.
uniform, really?
Yeah, dude, blue.
Oh,
Always
okay.
blue.
But Clara's wearing blue,
I'm wearing blue too,
and so is
I have blue
Jeremy.
tights.
So we
Actually,
have McCoy, Spock, and we got a bunch of people. And then Matt's just awesome.
he's just wearing
So,
black.
I mean, come on.
He's
the
standing
villain.
out from the crowd.
I got blue pants.
I
Well,
got
for
pants.
whatever reason, I get the feeling you guys want to eliminate me. You know, first I'm the red shirt. Earlier, I was going
No,
to
I
get
mean,
kicked
you are
off the
wearing
Kill
podcast
Alex.
so
Kill
Mark could come
Alex.
The collective has decided that
it's
you must
okay,
die.
Alex. Just calm down.
Sibyl
Here, let me go get you a
system-
bottle of water really quick. Never mind the fact that it might be open.
The civil system has decided you unsatisfactory to work.
on. No,
You were being
my crime
removed.
coefficient's okay.
Anyways,
All right, so yes, Food Fight. It is a film. Interestingly enough, it was created and produced by the digital effects shop at Threshold Entertainment.
Boo. Which
Well,
they
like-
no longer exist, I bet.
I was looking them up. They actually did some other things, like I want to say like the Bionicle movies and one of the Lego movies.
Oh, well, that kind of explains.
yeah, it seems they've reached their threshold.
They reached their threshold with this film.
That bumped. But the interesting thing was, even though the film wasn't released until 2012, it was actually produced in the early 2000s. And it says here in late 2002, early 2003, Larry Kasanoff, who was like the director and like writer and the guy in charge of the
Decided
whole
to leave.
movie. I wish. It would have never gotten made then. He reported that the hard drives containing film files had been stolen in what he called an act of industrial espionage.
It's probably a good thing.
Right. That's what. No. What I honestly believe this was there was some good God-fearing man out there, and a God-fearing.
That's what I'm saying. They stole it to help save the
good
world.
group of God-fearing people who decided that they could not allow this abomination unto God and man to ever be seen.
The scourge of the earth.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think somebody did it out of the goodness of their heart. Like, honestly,
This wasn't espionage. This was an act of kindness.
to humanity.
This power was never meant to be in mortal
But
hands.
then maybe it was Charlie Sheen that did it. He's like, I can't be soiled like this.
Is that what Charlie Sheen
Because
sounds
he
like?
hasn't done enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
No. If anyone, it was Hillary Duff.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. She was the
She
Doesn't
doesn't even
freak
do
out.
anything anymore.
She's got What,
Yeah, she kind of fell off the face of the planet.
Let's have Chef Boyardee make us a big meal.
Yeah, and one of the
yeah.
one of the interesting things about all this is apparently they tried to get distribution like several times over the years, and they kept on falling through.
Good.
And then they finally, the film was finally auctioned off in 2011 for $2.5 million.
What?
And it had a budget of 65. Just
Who
to put that
bought
into
it?
context. Whoever released it, I guess.
Yeah, whoever's releasing it, which it came out on DVD this month in the United States.
Well,
for the
and
first
I
time.
saw apparently it had a very limited release, like theatrically in the UK.
and it flopped.
Yeah, it made like
miserably.
$100,000, which
I mean,
is
it's still made
terrible.
100,000.
That's terrible. Like if it had a budget of 65 million, that's
still-
not even coming close
Pluto
to
Nash did
breaking
a better
even.
job than that, and Pluto Nash was a mega bomb.
No, all I'm saying is the fact they made 100,000 for that movie is what's appalling to me right now.
that anyone went to see it.
Yeah, who would think? I guess for kids, that's the
Small
only thing I
children.
can think of. Yeah,
And their parents are like, "You're not watching the rest of this.
we're
Leaves
leaving
theater."
halfway. Yeah.
That was
It made 13,000 euros its opening weekend.
Wow. So not even 100,000. I was highballing it there.
What is that?
That's like maybe $20,000.
No. It's I believe at that point I believe the euro was worth like $2.5 US. So
26, 20.
Still pretty terrible compared to how much money the film apparently had. Like I think we were talking about this, Matt. You know, in theory, though, the animation on those files that were stolen was probably a lot better than the final product. And then they spent all their budget on that, lost the hard drives apparently, and then had to start from scratch with what budget they had left.
So the fact they spent $65 million on the original, I'm sure.
Some of those models, though, the way they move, like, because here's the thing: with 3D animation, you have a basic rig, an animation rig, the character, they're a rig, and then you move them the way you want. The way some of those characters move, like the way their rigs are built, they don't move right, and that just kind of screams they weren't built the right way in the first place.
Do you mean Cheezel the Weasel?
Oh, I was thinking of
That
him.
thing haunts my dreams.
Also, Brand X, when
And
she's
my
dancing,
nightmares.
and like you can see her butt bone, like it's just.
That's the technical term for it.
The butt bone.
Or we've got the. Are we allowed to say that with the planes?
I'm trying to remember what the planes were.
The legs come out of the planes come out of her crotch.
Yeah, no, she doesn't
Yeah.
have a leg.
Oh.
And they're like, I was like, is that necessary?
Totally necessary.
There was an unnecessary
Sexual
amount of like
appeal.
sexual tension.
Okay, maybe we should tell our listeners what the movie actually is instead of just beating around the bush.
Okay, well,
Wow.
that's exactly what the film is. For those who don't know, because we do not recommend seeing this movie
Don't.
Ever.
unless
Don't.
you're seeing it with a group of friends and
To make fun
ready
of
to
it.
You need a
mock
strong
it.
stomach and a stronger mind.
Watch
Like,
it
you
as
have
a
strong
palate
will.
cleanser after a really scary movie of some sort.
Oh please, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
If your will scores below 12, don't watch this.
It seemed to me like it was trying to be Toy Story in a grocery store with like brands of like famous
The
products.
French guy had a different recording. His recording, did you guys notice that? The French cheese guy? His
Oh,
sounded
yeah.
like off.
Yeah, well, a lot of them sounded off. Like Charlie Sheen's was the only voice that like sounded right to me.
He was like super quiet and he was phoning it in hard.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, basically what the movie is basically what happens is when you go home at night and the supermarket is totally empty of people, all of the food icons, not the food, because that'd just be silly, but the food icons come to life in what can best be described
As like a
as a
city.
nightmare city.
A food city.
The only thing I can think of is they got all their funding from all the product placement they had, because it was
Oh, yeah.
all product placement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie is essentially it's product play. It's very poorly done product
Yeah,
placement.
because Miss Butterworth throwing down pancakes.
Here you go, dear.
Okay, that was
I've almost got a
that was actually kind of clever.
That was the only
No,
good
but the
thing.
point is when they explode like every other generic. They just change the colors of the explosion.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. Now, aside from that, though, basically what happens is that the evil generic brands,
Brand X.
yes, thank you, move into the store and start taking over by killing off icons, which causes their product to go
disappear.
Yeah, go under and spoil, and other bad things.
Yes.
not-
They get
Nazis.
recalled.
We'll get to that, Kenny.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. And yeah, it's up to the normal icons led by Dex Dog Detective. I can't believe I
God.
just said that.
Voiced by Charlie
Charlie
Sheen.
Sheen.
Voiced by Charlie Sheen.
Makes it even better.
And
Who's mourning over the loss of his
And a
love.
chocolate squirrel
a slightly racist chocolate squirrel.
sidekick. What?
Who's
who
he
voiced
voiced by?
him?
Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady.
What? I forgot about that. He was like
Yeah.
a daredevil pilot that can never actually do anything.
He can never do the loop-de-loop.
Yeah, the loop
Until the
Until he does it, but it was completely unnecessary.
And the main villain is voiced by Ava Longoria Parker. So
Oh, that's right.
think
for
of
like
that what you will.
3 lines. They had what's his name, Doc Brown. I can never remember.
You mean Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, he
Yes.
did like 2 lines, but he was.
He was the star of the show in those
he
few lines.
stole the This was a Tim Curry worthy performance of hilariousness.
Yes, that survival of the fittest, Leonard. I was impressed. It never occurred to me that he was actually like spoilers, a robot. Like it never occurred. At the end, I thought she had a robot in
Because
his body.
it's so stupid.
And
Why
here's
would
the-
you think
here's
of
the
it?
problem with this film. Like, it's like we were saying, Jim. It's like I don't understand that, and it's like you don't want to understand. You don't want to try to figure out why the plot holes that exist in this film.
Yeah.
It's like
exist.
Bobo logic.
No,
Just
no, no,
don't
no.
think
It's
too
like
hard.
Bobo
Not
Joe
enjoyable, though.
No,
Yeah.
it's like Bobo Logic except taken seriously.
It's,
Yes.
or it's trying to be serious anyway.
Brand X recalled both of the recalls.
But see, the thing is, you're right though. They're like saying that generic brands are evil. They're saying like
No,
all the main
okay,
brands.
and as Kenny
No,
said,
they're
but
cheaper.
I'd like to describe. I'd like to talk about this little point a little bit more. The generic brand is they're not even trying to hide it. They're Nazis.
They have the Reich Eagle and everything.
They have the
Like,
Reich
they had
Eagle.
it.
Their symbol is an X that is literally just a few little lines. Like they're not even trying
black
to
and
hide
red,
it. It's almost
so
a
yeah.
swastika.
Well, and there was even a scene I think where they're like just goose stepping, in
Yeah.
lines.
Making X formations with their arms.
Oh, yeah.
And like their
Yeah, they're
arms.
doing
yeah.
one
both hands in the
world,
air.
one X.
And they put both hands in the air or whatever, like the X thing. It was, yeah.
And what was
Yeah.
the little song they had? Like,
I'm
Brand
not gonna.
X. Brand X. That one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
Oh,
Brand
well,
X.
that was. I remember that was from the scene that was ripping off Casablanca. The bar scene where they're like,
That whole every time that thing came up, I just died a little bit inside.
yeah.
But
or the name dropping of the title, Food Fight.
Oh yeah.
And oh.
Well, or the worst was all of the terrible, terrible puns
The entire, even I
throughout.
cringed at those.
Yes, the pun master
Kenny.
every
over here.
no every other line out of actually no I'd say 3 lines out of every 4 that came out of Charlie Sheen's mouth was a pun in some way, shape, or
The
form.
worst, you're about to peanut butter and jelly you. And then he I'm like, what does it, doesn't make sense?
That doesn't make any sense.
We could have been like peanut butter and jelly.
That would, yeah. And
Macaroni and cheese.
the one girl was like trying to do like promiscuous things with him in his office. She had like her leg on top of him at one point.
Oh yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand how
This
she
was an
moved.
incredibly uncomfortable movie to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they made, obviously, the way they're saying things, the innuendos were ridiculous. So.
It was it's hard. It was really getting close to not being innuendo.
No,
anymore.
I know. I was like, well, we need
Yeah.
to stop
Well,
this.
and we brought up the mole guy. Was he a mole?
The weasel?
Weasel. No, the
Weasel
weasel.
the Weasel, the
Yeah.
Weasel.
That-
AKA the creature of nightmares given physical
Yes.
form.
Well, I mean, everything about that character was
like
weird.
3
His-
times.
His character
It was
model
greasy.
was it was super shiny. Like I don't understand why.
And it was even more like inarticulate than all the other models.
Yeah, and he could bend his head like
Yes.
backwards between his legs and up at you, like, wow. Like, his body made no sense.
Will,
and his,
like this.
and his voice was completely ridiculous. And then he like dies 5 times throughout the movie and just keeps
Wow,
coming back.
I'm gonna die again. He was like, makes some one line before he dies and then dies.
This is not good for me.
Yeah, that
Die.
was what?
I need to make better friends, or like.
The pen. She is like an old friend. Not to self. Make better friends.
Yeah, or the bit you were mentioning the slightly racist caricature of the squirrel. What got me more was the random. He was a vampire guy who showed
Let's
up.
not
Like,
talk. I'm trying to walk
And he
that.
has an attraction, like he's gay. Or
Yeah,
something.
they make
It's
some
like-
A
really
super
weird
attraction, too.
I have a chocolate deficiency and you're made of chocolate. And it was just really awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say they.
at one
he was
point-
It was an openly gay vampire.
At one
I have
point,
no
they
pro-
have to make little foil things to reflect like electricity of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
And his is in the form of the chocolate squirrel guy, and I'm just like, all right, stop.
Now, before someone says something, I have no problem that he was openly gay. My problem was he was really creepy.
Yeah.
He's that really, really uncomfortable guy. You know that guy, that one that just kind of stares at you doing that weird hand rubbing motion all night at
Yeah.
the bar. That's him.
Yeah, well, once
Or
again
that
with him,
friend that you just can't get rid of, and no one has the heart to tell them you don't want them to be there, and they're just so creepy.
Well, okay then, maybe I'll just leave.
No, Jeremy, it's not you.
Gigi,
It's
no,
not you.
You're the star of this
back.
podcast, Jeremy.
He said, yes, I am.
It's
So you
true.
can't stop
Remember
camera.
the best of Shredded
forgives
Cels?
us.
They were all Jeremy lines. You're the
75%.
funniest guy in the podcast, Jeremy.
You're the
We
funniest
need
guy we
you.
know.
That's true. That's pretty sad.
Biggie, biggie.
That better be on the best.
Yes, if I make one.
The one thing was that he was alone with that computer, the IBM or whatever computer that
It
was
was
the
the weird
database.
dancing-
Yeah, it was just
I
the
thought
vampire
she
in
was
that.
cute.
Yeah, see, she was cool, but it was just him and her.
And then
like-
she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, then she died.
They took
Yeah,
off the power.
And the thing was, Hilary Duff's character was only there for what, like 4 scenes at most?
Yeah, about 4 scenes. Yeah.
Because she was
Yeah.
there the whole time in the city. She was just
She
in the
had
building
the
he was
most
in.
deadpan smile. Like she.
And ditzy lines.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every
just look
scene
at
with
you
her was
like-
a little uncomfortable.
Like
I'm not
it
gonna
looked
lie.
like she was just staring just into space
Yeah.
at all times.
She was staring
And
into
Charlie
the soul.
Sheen's like my kitten.
For the
Like,
li-
My
you can make-
sunshine.
Oh,
staring at
nice.
those dead eyes of
Sunshine.
her.
Brand
Like-
X took my sunshine away.
God,
Yeah.
that killed me.
I was waiting for them to sing "You Are My Sunshine."
They did a
my
couple
own."
times.
Oh, they did.
A
Didn't
couple
that
times.
song actually play?
Yeah, like 2 or 3
Oh
times.
my God.
Yeah. For the listeners out there who haven't seen this movie,
Don't.
this Hilary Duff character's put on as Charlie Sheen's girlfriend, and she's in like the first 5 minutes of the movie, then completely disappears until the last
And he's
5
gonna
minutes
propose
where
to
she
her.
just conveniently shows up again.
He wants to propose. And
Basically.
then she disappears.
She runs off to help what's his name crashing his
Yeah,
plane.
yeah.
first.
Doesn't it skip like 6 months, like just
Yeah,
randomly?
just-
Oh yeah,
Usually.
yeah. And that, but
There
in
is
that
a
skip
time
month,
skip.
in that 6 month skip though, right after that though comes the greatest scene I have ever seen in all of cinema.
That is
I
true.
think,
You
yeah.
showed me that before the movie came. Like we watched it. That was what made it for me.
Are you talking about
Survival.
Christopher Lloyd's walk?
I don't know how. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the animation crew was thinking when they were making the scene, but they should have done this with the whole movie. This scene was absolutely hysterical.
It was brilliant in every sense of the word.
I'm not sure if it was supposed to be as funny as it was, but oh my god.
It's
Yeah.
what,
I think
it's
they were
supposed to be
leaning
creepy.
towards the ruttening and
Yeah.
just unnerving.
Because I think they did this, like, the thing that was impressive was, that's like literally what built up the whole movie that I was waiting for the entire time just to see.
But here's the thing though. Christopher Lloyd, I swear to God, he's one of those actors that knows when he's in a bad movie and he acts accordingly.
So you're just hamming it up.
Oh God, he was so hammy. There was he got so into he just went full out ridiculous on this.
I know. Well,
That little laugh I did a couple of minutes ago, yeah, no, that's me trying to mimic him in the movie.
That's
Yeah.
one thing you should look up on YouTube. Search that scene, and that's all you need
You can't
to
find the
see.
scene anymore on YouTube. They took it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was the best thing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Aw.
Like you're right. He was actually maybe not intentionally, but he was like the most hilarious character in the movie, and I wanted to see more of him. But he wasn't. He was sort of thrown off as being the main villain. You know, he's only like you said, he only appears in 3 scenes, I think.
2 scenes.
Anyone else feel really terrible
Well,
for
3
the
scenes
store owner?
when it's revealed
Yeah,
what he
that
is.
guy, he's like, I'm just gonna pretend this never happened. Because think about it.
No, but this
was
actually
a
brings
perfectly
up
good
another
bag of
point.
chips.
That brings up another good point about this movie. The models of the humans.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up.
Oh my God! I've never seen something so scary before.
Well,
in my life.
if you recall when they're out in the grocery store and they fall into the basket of the African American woman. And
That's not what. No, she's trailer trash, bro.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah.
She was trailer trash, bro.
Well,
And
either
she's like,
way,
get your eyes checked.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not gonna buy that toy for you.
either way, it was
They're flying at the 2
horrifyingly
liters, that's
disgusting.
right.
Find the image.
They were flying in the 2 liters, like guiding it through the air, and I was like, how are physics?
That doesn't work like that
Yeah,
at
I
all.
was gonna say, like, I know that I'm questioning a movie that already doesn't make much sense, but still,
Yeah.
a little bit of realism. But
Well, and as Matt Lund was bringing up earlier, even I'm not an animation guy by any stretch of the means, but even I could tell in that final fight sequence that's going over like the last 20 minutes, they reused the same stupid explosion animation, just
Yeah.
changed
See, they
the color.
changed it. Like at the beginning, it was this weird goo. I don't know. Like
it was a
did
green
change-
goop, I thought.
It was green goop, and then turned to some more like noxious gas or something.
Yeah.
And near the end, like they switched it, but like they did it in a bulk. Like all of them are this, and then near the end of the film, it's like all of them are like that. That's how they attacked.
I know it was just bad. And
So
that-
many repeated scenes that didn't need to happen.
exactly like that. The movie's I want to say it's nearly like 2 hours long, and they
Too
could have.
long.
I think it's an hour 30.
Okay, well,
Oh,
even
it
if it's an
felt
hour
so
30, it
much
felt
longer.
a lot longer than that. Like, especially in that last fight scene, they could have cut out a ton of that.
Could have cut
Yeah.
out at least 10
They're
minutes.
trying to make it intense.
Yeah, they
Like
tried.
I just think of my video production teacher because we would have a thing that we have made like a little video or a news segment, and he'd be like, "Cut 30 seconds off." We'd be like, "Where are we gonna possibly find 30 seconds?" And we would find the 30 seconds that we could cut off. And I feel like no one actually questioned, "Hey, what can we cut out of this movie to make it slightly less painful?"
You know what I really hope? That they have an actual director's cut that's another like half an hour tacked on with the actual DVD somewhere.
Oh my
Like,
God,
I wanna see
no.
the full
Well,
movie.
I was
No.
just thinking with that final fight scene. I think they were trying to be like the Battle of Helm's Deep, you know, from Lord of the Rings or something, like some really intense action scene.
My God, what was their goal with this movie? What were they trying to accomplish? To make
I don't
the
know
next big
because
thing, or
that's a good point because, like we said, there's some rather strange and very adult humor in the show, but yet I guess it's trying to be for kids, but yet it's
Well, here's
kind of
the
not.
other thing. Like with the product placement, these people are going to sign up. Oh, you're making a brand X. You're making like them look bad, and that they should buy the real product deal. I mean, it's all chalked up to
that is true.
Product
Yeah,
placement.
and Miss Butterworth does nuke people, so I mean, it's kind of like, well,
take that and that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where is this place? Like, is it in a certain part of the store or?
They technically live inside the shelves, I guess, because they go inside the shelves to go inside that magic world. I never
Okay.
understood. That's from what I perceived watching it.
It's never
doesn't even make
fully
any
explained
sense.
because
Yeah, it's
they,
like a different world.
They pop through a logo and are into the real world.
So
Yeah.
how did our good friend Christopher Lloyd get in there?
That's what
he
like, at the end,
appears.
he's just there, and you're like, what? Like, how did a robot?
It's not
Yeah,
made to make sense. The plot doesn't make sense at
It
all.
doesn't make any sense.
the plot holes are
How
ridiculous.
because we might as well just say how a brand decides that it doesn't get sold enough to recall itself and another brand, and then to go out into the real world, even it's a brand character to go into the real world to get the funding to make a brand X to take over the.
and then retake
And
it over.
she gets plastic surgery,
super plat, like,
which
the thing is-
gets punched out of her
yeah, that's what got
by
me.
Sunshine.
That's right.
I forgot Sunshine fights her and like kicks her face
really
in.
disturbing
they had
when
to-
she's back to her old self. Like they.
They had to have
Her
a little
clothes
cat
would
fight
not
in there.
fit if that was true. That would not happen unless
that
it was
was-
just latex and it stretched. But that was disgusting and
That
it
was
shouldn't have happened.
disturbing. Yeah, after the end, I was like, well, that's where I'm done.
Well, sorry, Dex, you
that's
almost
about
kissed
it.
that.
yeah, whoops. That was all up on your grill. That's gross.
Yep. So does anyone have any final thoughts on Food Fight? I would just sort of say it's a funny bad movie. You know, it's a good mad movie. You know, one
It's
you can
our
go
world.
It's
no
not a
no
good
no
movie.
no songs.
It's not a good bad movie. It's a bad
That's
movie.
the only lyric.
No,
I
but
know for that
you had to
song.
laugh at some of the ridiculousness.
Because I was so uncomfortable.
The thing is, it's not a movie I recommend to people. There's only 2 movies I've ever found I never recommend. It was that and Birdemic Shock and Terror. They're literally just painful.
I see. But well, I've seen reviews of Birdemic. It looks pretty funny.
That was the most painful movie I've ever gone through. It was funny because it was so painful, but again, I've had my life threatened over that movie, and he wasn't joking.
Oh,
so
dear.
we've never watched it since. So
Who was
Yeah,
the one who threatened you?
it was back at home. Like one of my friends, and I bring it up, he looks at me with a very serious looks, and I think I'm going to.
Yeah,
die.
I was talking to Jeremy earlier of like the good bad movies I've seen before. I would say like I like The Room and Sword
Okay, The
for
Room, I
Truth
could say,
better. You know, I thought they were funnier than this, but this was better than Angel Cop because Angel Cop was
Oh,
kind
God.
of painful
I'm
at
not gonna
times.
talk about
This
that.
was just hilariously bad.
It was pretty hilarious.
tried
If you're watching
way
it, do it
too
for Christopher
hard.
Lloyd.
Yeah, at least for the Christopher Lloyd
There's
scenes.
one other character that makes the movie.
Oh, what's that?
I believe his name is General X.
Oh, right, the
Green-
the one
scaly
that
man.
sounds like Alan Rickman.
Yes, I remember that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, hello.
Oh, I could just kill you.
Yeah.
Guy.
And then we've got the other sidekick who's like this really what was her whole thing that she like ate the brands, right?
Oh yeah, the
Oh
really
yeah, and she was
large.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Although it did actually lead to a mildly amusing repertoire between Wayne Brady's character and Charlie Sheen's character with her. Oh yeah, Dex can take you. Come on, Dex, let's get her. What are you, nuts? She's huge.
Yeah. Well, and that reminds me of what I mentioned it earlier, but the whole bit where they bring back the loop-de-loop thing with the stupid
it was
squirrel.
unnecessary,
It was he could have just flown right under there and grabbed, then they would have jumped out of the building, landed, and
They had
everything
to
would
put
have
it
been
in
fine.
though. They had to. They just couldn't think of how.
Just remember, the voice acting was the final product.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, like it sounds like something's off with the sound mixing because some characters definitely sound like
French guy
distorted
just
compared
wasn't.
to everyone else.
But don't worry. She said yes to the proposal.
That is true. She after all of that, she said
and
no,
then it was
I
a
would've been
Jewish
like-
wedding.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Completely out of left field. Actually, no, I think it was because it's probably because of Dr. Sinek's.
That's right.
Oh,
Ba-
God, that
okay,
guy.
for those we haven't described him because I'm trying to avoid some of the characters. I just don't want to talk about them. But Dr. Sinek's he's a walking nose essentially with a very nasally accent that will remind you of Mort from Family Guy. For those of you who have seen that show.
Oh yes,
And
and
with
he
weird
has
eyes on the side of his head. Very
Yeah.
unblinking.
yeah, and he
That
does
was
this
creepy.
hilarious gimmick where he sneezes and booger comes out of his nose all over our protagonist.
I forgot to mention this movie likes fart humor, and when they fart, it produces a green gas. It's
'Cause that's how it happens in real
really
life.
noticeable, and it's really not funny.
I forgot about that.
And
Like I said, they try way too hard.
I was just trying to remember.
movie
Wasn't there a penguin that died? Quote
Oh,
unquote.
Oh
yeah.
right, yeah. No,
some
Dr.
point.
He was so
Sinex
cold.
comes up. Yeah, no, Dr. Sinus comes up with a potion that literally brings people back from the dead with no repercussions.
It's because it's the brand, man. He
It's
found
the
it.
Dragon
like
Balls.
Dragon Balls. There is no repercussion for death
I was
anymore.
gonna say he pulled out the
Exactly.
Philosopher's Stone, but that's even better.
I did love that when they're like once again trying to be serious, like, oh no, the penguin died, and like Charlie Sheen's character's holding him in his arms as he
because
like has
he's
his
such a
death
substantial
scene.
character.
Exactly.
He's just like the random guy, like in the background who just dies. And he's like, no.
Oh, and then
Penguin.
we were making fun all the while of the main villainess. I forget her name, and how she's
Lady
constantly
X.
Lady X. How she's constantly making these speeches, and she can't stand still while doing it, so she's just throwing her arms around in the air,
She gets costume
waving her
changes
head.
Remember
every
that,
5
kids.
minutes.
Remember that acting lesson from this movie. When you are acting, never stop moving. Ever.
Even
Pretty
in
much.
monologues.
I hope they had capture footage for all of this. All the actors were like reading their lines as they were moving, and they did exactly that.
Yeah, well,
I hope.
you can see that in some, like, when you look at the behind the scenes features
Oh, I know
for
some
things.
like movies legitimately do that, like or Rango. Yeah, that did that.
Oh, it
God,
did?
Rango.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Rango's a good movie. But we're not talking about Rango today. I think we
we
can.
not?
No. We should have. Well, maybe. If we ever do like more American animation stuff.
Nibs.
Meanwhile,
That wouldn't be bad. Anyways, yes, we're on a tangent. We're going to move on from Food Fight and talk about the good movie that we watched this
Redline.
Sunday. Redline. A movie we've talked about
Directed
before.
by Takeshi Koike.
Yeah.
He's my bro.
Sort of strange that that's like in the actual song and they just say it in English.
Wait, they did?
Yeah.
At the very opening
Oh,
credits.
I didn't
it's
realize
like,
that. I was too busy like being tantalized.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a film that came out in 2009. I believe it was
Weird.
produced by Madhouse, correct?
Yes, back when Madhouse was still good.
And it was created in 2009, and I looked it up. It said it was worked on for over 7 years, and they created over 100,000
images, hand-drawn images.
So was this whole movie hand-drawn?
I mean, it was still digitally done, but the fact is there's not an ounce of CG in it. Like, there's no CGI.
That's like real life.
This is what your old classic Disney cartoons of drawing everything,
That's
but since it's
fantastic.
racing, all the things are moving in the background. And one of the things that I've heard from several people who have reviewed this film is if you go back and take the animation sequences, like when they're driving, like normally in a Disney cartoon or just any cartoon in general, when like when you're bouncing up and down in your car, like you're driving, it's usually the same frames repeated. But if you go back and rewatch Redline and look at the details, every time he bobs up and down, it's different every time.
Oh my god.
It's
Wow.
not the same
Those
animation.
animators must be so proud of themselves.
I would be. That's literally
It flops in
achievement.
Japan, though.
Oh,
How? That's like an
Because
achievement.
anything that America likes, Japan doesn't. So,
show racing.
What about shonen shows?
Yeah, that's not true. You got Sword Art Online.
okay,
both like
Shonen's,
that.
yeah, but Sword Art Online's been more of a hit, I guess you could say, over here than it
Because
is.
shonen's huge in both areas.
Shonen's, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you have big examples like Big O. That was not popular in Japan, but that was
Sure,
a hit
it's
over
huge
here.
here.
Or
Yeah.
Bebop.
Bebop, that's
Maybe
a perfect
we're just
example.
more
I
easily
realized Bebop was big in
impressed.
Japan. I thought it was big in Japan.
It wasn't big in Japan.
Not commercially, certainly.
Like,
Critically,
people like it,
still
critically,
like it.
but it's, the otaku. They want to see more girls and boobs in high school.
Yes,
Not
more
serious,
moe.
though. So it was Psychopaths? big in Japan,
Kudavedu.
I don't know. It hasn't been huge commercially, I don't think, but I don't think it's that bad.
Psychopaths, it's doing pretty well for Funimation. I mean, for a streaming, they pretty much knew right off the bat, hey, we're going to
But
license
in
this.
Japan, I mean.
Who knows how well it did in Japan.
It's
Yeah.
so great,
Yeah.
though.
Yes.
Hey,
That's what
Production
I'm talking
IG is doing some really well
Oh
because
my god.
there's 2 series. Ooh, that's right. I got to pull these up while we're talking. For Gen
about. Dan Urobuchi.
Gen Urobuchi's his new series by Production IG. Production IG is doing that and another like 26 episode series called Attack on Titan.
Wait, what is it? Who's
Attack
making
on
this?
Titan.
This is-
Production IG.
Oh.
They're the ones who made Psychopaths.
Yeah.
This year they're rolling out like their A-list titles. Like they've not done anything super fantastic in the last few years, but like your stuff that's going to compete with their Ghost in the Shells or whatever they've.
I mean,
made
so
in the
far it's been
past.
impressive. Psychopaths
Well,
is great.
they helped on Fooly Cooley, so
They did help.
that's
them,
pretty good.
But that's been a long time ago.
yeah.
My
Well, so
point
is
is,
Ghost in
this
the
year
Shell.
they're rolling out like with
getting their
Psychopaths.
stuff back.
They're rolling out with some pretty big titles, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yay.
so. Yeah, no, Attack on Titan looks wonderful.
Interesting.
I'm excited.
We'll talk about that new.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was my third time seeing this movie actually, because I saw it once in Matt's room last year, and then I actually went and bought the film on iTunes. It's available for $12 in HD.
Watch
Support the industry. Buy it.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, this one you should buy. This one deserves it.
So are you gonna
Deserves
buy it,
it.
Kenny?
If I have money.
That's always the trick,
I
isn't
didn't get to
it?
finish it all the way. I had 30 minutes left, but I watched the majority of the movie.
See what
Yeah.
you think when
Well,
you finish it.
I'm going to
tonight.
If you were
Yeah, that's-
if you had 30 minutes left though, you should have gotten to some of the race because the
It
race
was literally
takes
right
like
before it started. However long left right before they start. Like they were getting ready. They were showing off the races. They
Did
were
they
at
at
the
least
starting
did
line.
Frisbee and Frisbee and JP when they're out in the thing? I love this quote. Favorite line is like, you know, when he has the bag of potato chips and he smashes
Yeah,
them.
and he's, oh no, I
and
was
he's
at the
like-
part where they're at the state, like the right at the beginning lines.
Okay.
That was like 15 minutes.
because I
beforehand.
love that line. He's like, yeah, we'll be together throughout a race and covered in like potato chip crumbs or something.
Yeah,
I
and he
love
shatters
that.
it.
I love that
the detail.
quote.
You actually see like the crumbs everywhere that come off him. Like that, I was noticing the detail in that was like disgusting. How much.
Frisbee
Now,
is like, I'm
watch
not
when you,
amused.
when you go back to that scene in HD, you see everything in HD.
That's
It
why
is
I was in standard
beautiful.
definition. I
Yeah.
was upset.
Well, something that always impresses me every time I watch it is just the very first shot. It's nothing that special, just some like little peanut shells, I think.
Yeah, the
But that's your
pistachios.
first moment of like what the visual style for this movie is, and it's so strikingly
It's
different
graphics.
from.
I would say it's like an American graphic novel
A little
style.
bit.
That's
a
what I
bit.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
the
then
shadows are very dark and the
Yeah.
colors are very
JP
vibrant.
reminds me of Elvis.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that and
Yes.
the guy from
I think
No
that
Heroes.
was the point.
Yeah.
Stop, Jeremy. Go away. Go home, Gigi. You're drunk.
Yeah, well, with his greaser hair and comb, you know, it's definitely sort of coming from
Maybe
that
even
era.
greased lightning.
Yeah, he maybe the guy from No Heroes from that one game on the Wii.
Oh, no more
It made me
heroes.
think of him. Kind
Travis
of like that.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Travis
Well,
Touchdown.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
that's
never
his
played the
name.
game.
But
Let that sink in.
can I just point out how ridiculous and gravity-defying JP's hair is? I mean, anime's full.
It's like
of
Rio from
Hey, it's
Shaman
best when
King.
he uses the little what is it like
the comb.
No, the I like the comb. I'm
His
talking
drop
about
tablet
His
thing?
drop tablet thing.
Yeah.
And then the car like stretches as he
It, like
goes-
shit. The thing that got me is their faces when they go fast kill me. They're like, that's what happens. But I laughed so. My friend was watching it with me, and the whole time we laughed every time they went really fast.
Is he your
It just
roommate?
looked- No, it was actually my friend Abby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me, there was a moment that I think Jeremy had forgotten about near the middle, or not the middle, the beginning of the race where JP's like weighing last and he's like, Frisbee calls him up, is like, hey, why are you doing so bad? You know, go ahead and use your first nitro. He's like, oh, I have to do it already. He puts it in there and his car like freaks out like it usually does. And then it starts spinning like a Frisbee and just goes over the water.
No,
like,
That's in the final
that's
race.
That's near the end.
well, it's in the final race. I'm sorry. I meant it was at the beginning of the Redline race.
Yeah, no. He literally skips the car.
Yeah, the
a
car
Trans
just,
Am. If memory serves right, we're talking about a full steel bodied car.
Yes.
And he skips it with
you
a jet
kidding me?
engine in it.
It's skipping.
And it skips across the water.
That's what started the Darwin Awards.
Now, don't get me wrong. When I went in this movie, I knew it was going to be silly. But when we got to this, it's like, oh my god, this is ridiculous.
It's kind of like in Pokemon when they drive a boat up a mountain.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
that
Pokemon
was
2000.
great.
That was pretty
That was
beautiful.
fantastic.
Now, I'm not. Again, I'm not. I didn't throw like a conniption with stuff like that because it doesn't bother me when I expect a movie to be silly or ridiculous.
Yeah, you guys told me
Yes.
it's over the top, and I
Well,
loved it.
That's an interesting thing because Matt and Jeremy can attest. When we finished this movie for the first time, when I saw it for the first time, I threw a fit at the end because I was so pissed off at how
Love.
it ended.
Love.
Well, it wasn't just the love thing. It was just the ridiculousness that goes to where they're literally on fire, heading towards the finish line, and then they somehow are walking on air with the blue. What was the thing called? The special stone that gave them the power.
it was
Starlight.
Yeah, Steam Light. That was
Steam
it.
Or they also called it the Platinum Nitro Booster.
The platinum.
Pretty
Nitro
much.
Booster.
So just the ridiculousness of that and just how nothing is resolved. And the reason I was upset though was because it had actually set up some pretty interesting and like well-developed character stuff and story stuff before then, like the relationship between JP and Frisbee or
That's an interesting. If you
I
rewatch
like
that
them.
film,
Yeah.
you go. There's more detail, like how Frisbee, Frisbee even says it. Like JP has to lose these big races, because Frisbee has to play, in the underground, with these bets and make sure JP loses. But Frisbee even says to the point, like, I had to go to the underground in order to build you the best car I could. Like, so it's kind of, even though he's corrupt,
Bittersweet.
he had to do it in order for JP to be in these big races.
Right.
So
Well,
it's
Yeah.
kind of
Because
a.
I didn't realize they're best friends. Like in the beginning, they just look like he looks like a sleazy guy that's hanging out with them. Then you see the flashbacks and their kids and everything, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they've been friends
They've
for
been
like
friends
their entire
forever,
lives.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of a JP wants to win the red line, and he wants to go for it, but he's also tied it back because he knows Frisbee is the one who's given him the car, who's given all this, because Frisbee's had to take the personal
So
sacrifice.
if he wins, does he just not need Frisbee anymore, kind of thing? Like he wouldn't be able to help.
Well, Frisbee probably get killed.
Because, I was wondering. I was trying to think.
Because if you recall, the whole backstory to that was they were in a race and he wanted like a better car, so Frisbee went with the Mafia and they rigged it.
That's right.
And then
But the first time
JP lost that race, and so Frisbee like got in big in debt with the Mafia, and that's why this whole thing started, and why he went back, who went to jail and all that.
The other thing with the
what, the Mafia guy?
Yeah, well, just Frisbee. Keep going. I had a brain fart.
What is Frisbee?
An alien.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming that, but I mean, like,
They didn't name any of the species in the movie.
there were like
That's the
dogs
thing.
and
There were a
cats and
few they
weird
named.
alien things.
Aside from the robot man
And the dogs. There were the dogs had a name.
Did
I
I
don't
mention
remember
how
what.
uncomfortable the robot people?
They were
made me feel?
Nazis. Again, I hate to bring it up, but did you see their symbols and how they were? They were a lot more.
They weren't nearly as
president was
Nazi-ish as
always
Food
angry.
Fight.
No, but
they had
still.
more patriotic, like American blue stripes and stars.
They just made me think of like a fascist state when I saw them, and I was
Well,
like,
yeah, they're supposed to be like that. They're obviously a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Oh, and Funky Boy.
Funky
Oh
boy.
yeah, that's the thing.
Funky boy.
That's he hasn't seen Funky
Yeah, I don't-
Boy. That is
Oh, no.
that's the military secret weapon. It's called Funky
The
Boy.
bioweapon.
It's the
Kinda
bioweapon.
like
I
a
don't even
dance or
know what
something?
it
Like,
is.
what?
It's a giant.
It's a
weird
giant.
baby.
It's a giant screaming monster that shoots lasers
It's like a
out of its eyes
plasma
and mouth.
blob.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's ridiculous,
Oh,
but
I remember
but
what I
the
was saying.
animation when Funky Boy shows up is awesome. Like
He's
I
called
love how
Funky
those
Boy?
explosions are animated.
Sorry to go back real quick, but
That's okay.
When we first watched this movie, we were always like, when we looked at Frisbee, like, that's not a friend. You're blowing up your friend's car. Remember, we were stuck on that plot point. It's like, why are you blowing up your friend's car? It was. Do you remember that at all?
No, I
like,
remember
we were all
that.
like, why are you doing? That's a terrible friend. And then, like I said, when you finally watch it a second time and you kind of look at Frisbee as a character, and it's like, oh, I did this for you.
Right.
I blew you up for you.
I'm trying to remember. Did you when we watched it last year? Was that the first time you'd seen it?
No, I had seen it beforehand.
That's what I thought.
But don't worry, guys. I broke your leg so you wouldn't lose at the big race.
Yeah, it's still a little screwed up, but at least they give him some motivation for what he's doing.
One thing I like though is the diversity of the species they make is ridiculous. Because sometimes they get sick with a few, but there is like dozens of different aliens they've animated. And the one guy, his mechanic, reminded me of Sebulba the entire time.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh yeah, he definitely was.
Old
I
man. There's a lot of
love
species.
him.
that
He had
equate to
super
other
long
things I've
arms.
seen.
Oh yeah.
Or no, my friend and I thought like the same time. It looked like the guy from Spirit of the Way.
That's what I was
The
thinking
worker with
of.
the forearms.
yeah.
Because
What was
his
immediately we were
name?
like, holy crap. it's-
Jumanji or
Jumanji.
Is it Jumanji?
No, it's
it was
like-
not Jumanji.
I wish.
And then they also had Captain Falcon in there as well.
Yeah.
Oh my
If
god.
he just shot out of nowhere like Falcon kick and like killed everyone, that would have been the best time.
And another thing I think you'd forgotten about, Jeremy, was the announcers and the little guy with the cube head.
God, he gave me nightmares.
Wait, the
like
announcer?
no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little
He's just a
square
little
head.
fast-talking announcer, like you're.
His-
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Blah, 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 and he talks it like.
I wet myself. Thank you for that.
Oh
It's like
yes.
those weird little chicken creatures. They're trying to sell them tickets.
Oh, those guys are creepy,
They
and they're like
freak me
little
out.
kids.
Yeah.
apparently.
Wait, there's
Or
a
remember when he gets the cigarettes? He's like, and then the person.
yeah, that thing that's crying. It's
Even he goes, "What the hell?"
yeah. I was
Yeah.
like,
Well,
what is this place?
the funny thing is, later on, just before the race, the thing shows up again. He's like, "Give me a ticket for JP."
Yeah, I was like, what are you? Like, what the exchange rate's
And-
awful
It's
too.
like the cereal master.
oh my god, you're right.
It's-
I have daddy issues. You should go talk about them.
Thanks, Chris. You're a peach.
It's something I just thought of. Remember when those little chicken guys show up again, and they like they
the
buy
mold thing they eat?
yeah, they buy some like soup or something and immediately eat it,
It
and
looks
then
like
they
lava.
and then they just start like bleeding from the mouth. They're like,
It's so hot. The other one's buying something. I'm like, what's happening? Like, what?
You're supposed to eat it one bite.
yeah.
It was so weird.
Although that's something I actually quite like about this movie, because like in that very shot, I remember it. There's a different conversation going on. I think they're talking about like the bets right before the race, and then off to the side, they're just doing their little thing, like buying these little food things or whatever, and then it leads to that little joke at the end where their mouths start fizzing up or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just thinking of it from a filmmaking perspective, like there's always something going on, like
It's very
moving in the
natural,
frame.
like in a
it's-
normal race.
It's not like static like a lot of anime is.
Well, yeah, because a lot of
I've been
anime,
there.
like it's your main characters in front that are moving, and everything else is just static. But in this film, like everything is moving. It's like not
All
even a.
times.
One thing that got me though was kind of unexpected. I laughed. Not like it was funny, but I just didn't see it coming. Was when the first time they're trying to place their bets in the planet, and the robot comes like, "This is
yeah.
illegal. Break it up."
is illegal.
Particle beam cannon, and things start
Oh
exploding.
yeah,
I'm like,
the what is that in the English
What?
dub? Because in the Japanese version, it's this really high pitched.
Because I was watching the Japanese version.
It's as high. It's almost as high pitched.
But
in the
it
English
sounds
version.
like this.
Because I saw the Japanese one that you sent me.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
'Cause I
You
didn't
watched
see
the
the English
Japanese
and like
version.
this is a restricted access.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just
they're-
drilling people. Then the other guys, the workers, when they get killed
Yeah,
by those things
the
too.
miners, yep.
Yeah, they like slaughter them. I was like, jeez.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Like, there's just always things going on that we just never have explained, but it's like, oh yeah, this is
well,
happening.
the worst offender of that is, okay, Funky Boy shows up, and it was weird, but it had been hinted at throughout the movie, so it's like, okay, that's whatever. Then the general goes to like this random monster that we haven't heard mentioned at
Tentacle
all,
monster.
and he gets killed by it, and then comes out and he's like, I feel incredible, and this thing starts like fighting with Funky Boy. It's like we got a Godzilla movie going on in the middle of our racing movie,
And then we
And
never
then-
see
It makes
anything
it-
else.
yeah, then they leave, and their fight and all of the Robo-World stuff just disappears from the movie, even though it had been heavily featured up to that point.
It's just me though. Did anybody else watch the Hot Wheel movies they had on Cartoon Network?
Oh, those are all.
It reminded me of that so hard because the thing is, they're on weird alien planets doing about the same thing, and I was like, "This is just like
Redline
Hot Wheels.
is the Hot Wheels movies 10 times better.
Oh no, it's better. I'm just saying it reminded me of it.
Yeah, I'm
And I
just
was like,
saying.
whoa.
It's all. I remember those Hot Wheels movies. I remember actually wanting
were
to watch
awful.
those back. I know, but I remember
No, back
actually
in the
wanting
day, it
to
was like,
watch
Hot
those.
Wheels. No, yeah, but this is
'Cause they were on like Toonami or something.
yeah. But what I like about this though is the fact that it had kind of like the Death Race deal where they had like anything goes, and he's supposed to be like the whole noble guy who doesn't use weapons.
Right, that's
Which-
Sweet JP.
Sweet
What got
JP.
me though is the fact that he looks exactly the same as he did when he was younger, and she didn't recognize him until she heard his name. Like she'd seen him for a while, and then she's
Well,
just Sweet JP. and it's
but
like,
to
"What
be
is
fair,
this?"
how I thought of that was, she probably just saw him that one time.
That's true.
Although
Well, he only
He's
saw
been
her once
watching
too.
her.
no, that's not actually true though, because he has a different flashback where he's talking with her, isn't
Yeah.
he?
So then she saw. The thing is just, I
Yeah.
guess the names. I don't know. My friend asked me. I'm like, I guess it's. The
If I saw
name.
someone with that hair, I think I'd remember him.
Yeah.
so
I don't know, but hey, with how many aliens there are, I mean,
I guess
don't-
you get confused.
You could get
'Cause-
Crab
Although I did
Sonic
actually wonder
Machine.
one thing about throughout the whole movie: do aliens ever hunt JP and try to take his magical unicorn horn?
I guess
it gives
not.
them powers. Well, and
Overall,
remember, I pointed out I believe it's the general of the Robo World people. He also has a pompadour
Oh, that's-
sticking
No,
out
that's
of
what
his,
I'm saying. It's
his
the robot
hair,
version of
quote
him.
unquote.
If you look, they have the same everything. I was like, oh my god,
The
it's his dad.
president, the president guy
Looks
is
like
at all
Ganondorf.
times angry.
Yes,
And
always
he's like
screaming.
always sipping from this drink. What is that thing that he's always sipping from?
I know, like, what is the ultimate
You just
sippy
see this
drink?
like little tube, and it's just like.
I love Capri Sun. like what?
I'd like to point out how much that guy looked like Ganondorf.
He
A little
did.
bit, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Body Ganondorf.
I never realized that, but he does.
What got me too was I know it was kind of a side thing, 'cause it didn't really matter, but the guy who the more he cried, the more powerful he got.
That
Yes.
guy. It's like, I can't. I have to beat him. I have to show
You're
him.
doing this just to hurt my
I was
feelings.
like, who is it? And then the guy punched him and it's to pick his teeth off his glove.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez. Because I
Yeah.
noticed
Oh
that.
yeah, he's going after the character.
The people
he's
who
he's
abandoned
part of
the army.
The army.
Yeah.
Those two characters are actually featured in an animated short that was animated before Redline called Trava Fist Planet. Not recommended. I watched it. It wasn't anything special at all. It's just that's where you get the one red guy and the blue guy that the
Right.
one cop or
yeah.
ex-officer is chasing. Their name. I think.
No, the cop isn't chasing them. He's chasing the guys who look like look like half the Beatles.
Oh, yeah, that's
right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that cop like a rabbit of some sort, or like he looks like some type of rodent mammal
The
thing?
blue guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked kind of like, it reminded me like a monkey and a bat.
It's like,
Yeah.
are you having an affair with this woman over here that's in your team? And he's like, no comment.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And she's
Yeah.
all like, yeah, totes.
totes my goats. Well,
So
that's
they-
he like kisses a picture of her before he starts the race.
Yeah, there's something about, the adultery charges. You're like, yeah, so do you want to talk about the adultery thing you're doing? He's like, no comment, and like hits him in the mouth.
Yes.
And I'm like,
And
yeah.
that just reminded me.
It's been revoked.
You brought up
I am the law.
the two members of the Beatles. Remember how they're like following the blue monkey cop guy, whatever we want to call him, and they're in their stupid bug thing, and they're like start pedaling, and they're
they're, like,
these super low angles, and they're like, "Keep going, Jimmy!" Ah!
Oh,
And
yeah,
they're
you
just
got the
giving-
race to the race. Like they
you
pedal in the
serious?
it's,
And
it's
no,
so
it's because they're
ridiculous.
underground and they have to dig up.
Yeah, but they're the ones who are responsible for destroying the laser weapon.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, that was
That's the bounty
that was
hunters.
Lynchman.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lynchman.
the bounty
I remember they
AKA
said-
Captain Falcon.
That,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that one song.
Oh my God, you're
Lynchman and Johnny
Oh,
Boy.
and remember when he gets hit out of his car and then runs back up to get into
Hey,
it?
he is the fastest. He is the fastest
Yeah.
bounty hunter in the galaxy.
He gets out of his
guess.
car and then races back up to get to his car.
Yeah, or how about when
Gotta go fast.
near the beginning of the Redline, when Sonashi opens her cockpit and shoots one of the missiles with a handgun, because apparently that's the most practical way of
Yeah,
getting
and
rid
then
of a
what was it?
missile.
Oh yeah, I think it was Lynchman who actually used flares.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, missiles are coming in. What do I do? Decoy flares.
Yeah. Seems pretty obvious.
Still, the fact they sabotaged the machine before the race, right? Like, I remember they had their
Yes.
hit and they saw the machine thing.
Yeah.
They were trying to blow up the entire little pink ship with the princess lady in it.
Yeah, that
Who
was-
was totally just like trolling all over Robo Planet
Yeah,
and
she
painting
was-
it pink.
Hey, was she just painting it, or was it actually dangerous?
No, she was painting the finish line.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so she
It was like, hey, go up the side of this building. Oh wait, it's a ramp. Never mind.
whoops. I mean, they still had like it was
Yeah,
because
you
it was
go
where
to the
they're
top
painting.
of the ramp,
Well,
like up to the top of the building to get to the finish line.
When she showed up, it was sort of like if I was the Robo World guys, I would just would have called hacks, because apparently she has magical powers that can bend the physics of the universe to do whatever the hell
Magic
she wants.
With her,
I believe that's the point where it's like, you know what? No, you know, as soon as this race is over, we're gonna have words with them, strong nuclear powered words. But anyway, I think what really kind of surprised me about this movie. Remember the hyper disintegrator cannon, aka that super weapon?
yes.
Did anyone else like the fact that it was pointed at the surface of Robo World?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right.
Good point.
Just in case.
I mean,
the final...
you'd think they'd have it turned away from it, and then they
Or-
could turn it back around at Robo
Or,
World if
or
they
here's
needed
a
it.
better idea. Why do you make a stationary super weapon over your home planet?
just in case nobody gets nice things, they explode.
Exactly. Apparently,
sense.
and apparently they didn't have anybody guarding it, because the two bounty hunters were able to sneak in there and sabotage it pretty easily.
Because they're the
Oh,
best,
it's
dude.
because it wasn't supposed to even be known that it exists.
I guess,
Its
but.
existence wasn't supposed to be known.
Which reminds me of the guy who's operating that, the weird scientist guy who's always like talking in this pretentious voice, and even when something bad happens, he's like, "No, Mr. President, you must
Oh,
calm
really?
down.
I'll
We have the
tell
situation
everyone."
under control." I don't know. He was interesting.
I think one of my favorite things is like, hello? Yes. Oh, I see. All right, I'll tell him. Mr. President, the hyper disintegrator cannon is no longer functioning. It's like, because that sounds like good news.
And then the president just about breaks a blood vessel and with
then
all
Ganon-
screaming.
He's
I
always
think
angry.
one of my favorite scenes though was, get everyone out there and stop this. Do you mean like a few guys or no, everyone?
And then Ganondorf did his
All the
punch.
soldiers.
And then he sips from his little drink thing.
I know. It's like,
What is that? We never see the source.
I'm singing my Capri Sun.
No. What I just assume it is you know how we walked into that hologram? It's not actually a hologram. It's actually full of like of that clear Kool-Aid stuff. It just has this, like the straw goes all the way down to like through his boots. And he just sucks it up.
But then it's got a bunch of robo people in it. Why would you want to drink it after that?
Having a still suit.
Because it's still delicious clear Kool-Aid.
So you
There
said
you
Kool-Aid's
go.
made of robo people?
Yes.
All these years.
That's the secret.
I've been horribly misguided.
My God.
Well, you've been drinking out of a terrifying glass golem, so
It's true. And he's got like debris in there floating around.
I hope
It's
that's
not
true.
even like a closed container. Things can fall in there all the time, like leaves and bugs.
Asbestos flavored Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
I'm making muffins as best as I can.
Is that another Bravest Warriors
No,
joke?
it's
Asbestos
the.
joke.
It was on YouTube a long time ago. Actually, it's been a couple years. Like someone made a video about muffins,
I think I remember
Oh my
that.
God, I remember
where they're
the
making
blood
like a whole
muffin
bunch of
thing?
type
Yeah.
of muffins.
Yeah.
and it's like they start off with like apple, blueberry, banana,
remember that.
pencil,
Glass muffin.
paper, blood,
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, I do remember that.
asbestos.
But you brought up earlier, Matt, the red-skinned alien guy. And that reminded me of the scene from the restaurant, which I actually quite enjoyed because
Oh
you
my
have that
God.
you have that moment where Sonashi and JP are about to kiss, and then
Yeah.
he just
Oh,
shows
yeah.
up.
Like, we have friends that are like, oh, and then the lobster guy's like, can I eat all your food?
Yeah, he starts eating all the food, and like he even makes some comment at JP for like because he
was trying to hit
obviously
on
Could
her.
have had her for dessert.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Because he came up to her, he's like, can I have you tonight as well?
And she's like,
no.
no.
Yeah.
Oh.
That thing was weird.
Yeah, that was. And what did you guys think of the whole bit? Their strategy of like doing all the intros to all the racers. Like,
pretty cool.
you know, they go to the TV station. It's like, and now we're gonna go to this trailer on this racer. Ah, da, 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 da.
Nice shot of my butt, guys.
Oh yeah, there
right.
were the weird two women who were from the
Oh, yeah.
The Magic
Princess's
Planet,
They were
yes.
like all like
Ridiculously.
Get those cosplaying porn star rejects.
Oh yeah, so they even said that at some point.
They were just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and then
love
there's
people like
the totally necessary scene of Sonashi topless,
Bliss.
just sitting there watching the TV.
as she's
I-
eating strawberries.
I walk
That's a
around
thing?
my house
Yeah,
with
she's
no
topless and she's watching.
Because that's what everyone does when they're in the privacy of their own home. Don't you know,
I
Matt?
mean, I do. We're going to be honest.
You know,
Of course.
you gotta give the animators a break though. It was over, as you guys have said, it was over what 100,000 frames of animation. I'm gonna slip something in there too that shouldn't be in there as well. I've been at this for years.
7 years.
I'm tired of drawing dust particles. I want boobs.
Sipping in boobs.
Pretty
guys
much.
are like, can we draw boobs? Fine.
Fine,
Fine.
just
You
once.
get 15 seconds.
All right.
She has speeding strawberries, though.
It's like hundreds of frames. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that's before the race.
Yeah, that's before the race.
Okay.
Well, that means you should have seen it then.
I didn't, I guess.
I guess not.
Because I don't remember
Because
that.
it was
If you
like-
watch it in HD, you'll see them.
You'll know.
Oh, and I also gotta love how JP when he's on the alien
JP
planet,
Morgan? Oh.
he's got that completely ludicrous motorcycle thing that
Yeah.
like completely blocks his
Whoa.
vision of like
And he says,
right in front of
perfect
him.
view, right when he sits down on it, he's like, it's got such a good view, and it shows it blocked off, and I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah, and,
So-
and
I
apparently.
never know if he's serious or not,
I know.
ever.
And apparently he doesn't understand the concept of like not pushing the thing to its limits because he's always going fast on whatever he's driving and he wrecks like all the
Yeah,
time.
he like ruins 3 things. At one point, he lands like the poppy field, or not poppy, sorry,
flower field.
The flower field, and then he's like, at least it's still running. I'm like, you ruin everything you drive. How do they trust you with these things? Like, seriously.
Even the last car. Even the last one.
Yeah.
It's because he has the greatest magical powers of all that let him float a car on water.
Touche.
Gotta go
Yeah.
fast.
No, not even float it. He skips it
That-
like
I
a
can't
flipping
believe-
stone.
It's like a
It'd
frisbee.
be different if he was like Sanoshi and have a hover car thing.
But his is an actual hot rod. That's like
No,
beautiful.
that was.
wheels.
I think that was my favorite part about the whole movie. Everyone else is driving these monstrous, like I swear to God, they were bigger than like tank-sized vehicles.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were all super advanced, and he drives a freaking
It's just
Trans
it's,
Am.
a Trans Am.
Well,
yeah.
No, and it's not even like a new Trans Am from the looks of it either.
It's a
Yeah.
it's like a muscle car version. You're like,
What?
what?
What was the name of the chief racer, like the one who had been number one, the robot
the guy
guy?
who could plug right into it.
What was his name?
Metalhead.
Metalhead, yeah.
I wonder
his,
that
man.
his machine was like a super
So
tank.
OP.
Like
Yeah,
they weren't even trying to
The fact that
disguise
he-
it.
oh yeah, you'll realize when
He was
they're-
one with his
when-
machine.
Yeah, he becomes one with his machine as they're like trying to beat them.
He's like, I'm close to my machine than anybody because I'm plugged into it. And it's just going to his back, and he's like, wait. So it's like, all right, that's OP because he is his machine. Just
Yeah.
me and my
And then he
wheels.
eats
And that
the
little,
nitro.
yeah, he pretty much
Yeah.
eats it and it just
Wait,
flames
doesn't he
out
have
of
a
his
puppy?
eyes.
Doesn't he have like what's that
Yes,
kind of
it's a-
dog?
Yeah, he's got Shih Tzu.
A Shih Tzu or something.
I did like the one scientist guy back to the other weird people. His little cat just like in his shirt. And the cat comes
Hairless
out, like-
cat.
yeah,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was like, what? Why is that?
Yeah.
But
Well, and something that it's a minor thing, but it just sort of bugged me. Remember at the beginning of the movie with the yellow line race, like it's him and Sonashi are like super close, but JP's like out in front. It's like he's gonna win, and then the explosion happens, and Sonashi just barely manages to like beat him across before his burning car goes over it. She's like, I won. And it's like
every other racer beats him.
exactly. They were like 15 seconds behind him, and all of a sudden they teleport and all manage to cross the finish line before his flying car does.
Well, just to let you know, though, 15 seconds isn't that long, and for all you know, they work on Mario Kart physics.
What is that called? Rubber banding. They're rubber banding like crazy.
What do you
man.
mean? Like,
I don't fully understand it, but it's like when you're like in first and you know the AI is way
Oh.
behind you, they can like catch up
Literally catch up in
unnaturally
3 seconds.
fast.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
Basically.
It's always Toad or Peach. Always. Or Donkey Kong. He always wins. But anyways.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's any other particular moment in the movie that
You mean like the
stuck
end?
out to me. Well, yeah. Oh, I did remember one thing. I did love the whole bit where the what's his name? The engineer guy, you know, the old man.
yeah.
When he sees the bomb on the car and then goes to where the mafia guys are, you know, and
How does
Frisbee's
he
about
know
to
where
get
they
shot.
are? They're the mafia. They're not supposed to be easily tracked
Yeah,
down.
she's like,
I'm more
guys.
amused by the fact they're on the exact same planet that the mechanic is
Yeah,
on.
they move. Like, he'll never find us. And it's like, what?
Yeah, but I just love he shows up, he like flies his air scooter through the thing, and then he shoots like the bodyguard and the mafia boss guy. And if you notice, he's loading his shotgun with screwdrivers. Like that's how
What?
badass he is.
What?
I like it because like the boss guy who's got that weird white stuffing smeared all over his teeth at all times. But the girls are like, "Okay, bye," and then just leave.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, I had my friend explain that to me.
yeah.
What is it?
It's cocaine. You put it on your gums to let it dissolve.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing.
Ew.
Interesting. That was
Ew.
that was
That is
It's
not.
so gross. 'Cause I'm like, it's cocaine. She's like, actually, it is. He's rubbing on his teeth. I'm like, why do you know that?
that was another thing I kind of liked because earlier in the movie they showed, you know, the guy on the golden car, you know, with the ladies next to him and all
Yeah.
that, like that JP looked up to, and then it turns out, oh hey, it's the mob guy. What do you know?
Full
you serious?
circle.
Yes, it tends out to be the mob guy.
Well, they don't. They never say it outright, but it's pretty heavily
Heavily
implied.
yeah.
Because he still has the 2 girls next to him.
He changed a bit.
And at one point, you see shiny gold stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Clara, what did you want to say about the ending?
Love.
Yeah, the
Parts.
The fact that
Like the fact that like Jay, they just through the whole movie, yes, there was chemistry between them and they were in the race together. But it's like, oh hey, make out time
yeah, I don't
because
know.
we have so much in common. We both race.
I guess that in itself doesn't bother me because it's like, of course they're gonna get together.
Well,
you
right,
know?
but I mean, like, it's like I love you, and I'm sure you don't tell someone you love them after like maybe racing for 15 minutes
Well,
with them.
Hey, the red line
but-
is the ultimate race in the universe. Or
Maybe
whatever.
they just realized that they're perfect for each other, and we
Because
just
they
never
both
saw
want-
that.
Yeah, we never saw the. Maybe it was a whole off-camera thing.
Maybe
Incorrect.
like
Yeah.
the whole off-camera thing, like
But-
any shown in anything.
But
But
once again, to the
Yes.
movie's credit, though, like the whole sort of middle bit, if you will, between like Yellow Line and Red Line, you know, when he's just on the planet, like they meet up a few times and they do have some scenes together. So
well, right, but it's just like still at the end, it's just like ridiculously cheesy.
no, it is. I mean, the fact that that's literally like the last scene in the movie does bother
And you
me.
just see everyone else is kind of smiling, like, "Oh, ain't that cute?"
Yeah, and this movie that had been filled with like testosterone fueled action and like ridiculous racing and stuff, to have it end with a
And they're
little love
floating,
scene.
and he just pulls her in. She's like, "Aha!"
Yeah, so that's a good point. So
That's adorable.
you know, not only does the car explode, you know, and then turn into a fireball, which somehow accelerates it forward. They managed to live through that, and then
Without
somehow
any burns.
yeah, and then somehow magically get steam light powers, even though they'd already used up their steam light, and just fly to the finish line.
And
As long
then-
as your body crosses, you win.
Yeah, well, JP's hair
Hair.
is what wins it for him. Of course. What else would
That's
it
actually
be?
painful to me.
You'll see when you see
Kenny.
the end. Yeah, and then they're literally flying in the air, like kissing each other, saying, "I love you so
They're
does
making
she."
out while flying, and his hair hits it. And the other race
No,
is
they
like,
don't
what
make
the
out.
heck?
They don't make out until they win.
Yeah,
and they're just
at
floating. And he
least.
just like pulls her in, and then they're like kiss.
And then
What, let me guess,
love.
was Metalhead
Meow
the guy right
kiss.
behind them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was he just like,
No, he's like, looks like I lost.
Yeah, he took it pretty
That's
well.
about it.
He says that too. He's
I
like,
give him points actually. I thought he'd be like, what? Because his hair just beat him. But
Yeah,
okay.
that's a
Do that
good.
again.
That's a good point. Like,
What?
you know, all those racers had been like fighting to the death, and they seem pretty cool after
all
losing
just
the
stopped.
That
race.
is nice. At least they're like, I guess, like honorable in that fact. I can respect that.
Well, maybe it's because like the fact that you're in the red line
It's an ultimate honor.
in the first place.
Yeah.
So they make the red
Oh,
line
oh.
this big hyped up thing because it's an illegal thing. That
Yeah,
you
and
can't-
it's more or less like drift racing in Japan, except like an international thing or interplanet galactic thing. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Clara?
The two magic chicks, their car turns into a ladybot.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, and
And they
pilot
wreck
it from the
things.
breast.
Yes.
Of course.
So
Where
the
else?
fembot.
Where else would
Yeah,
they be?
and, yeah. and
What?
They pilot it from the boobs.
You're a fembot.
yeah, they pilot in the booth.
Vanessa, the love of my life, was a fembot.
Thank you. But still, like, that's what? I feel like somebody should have turned to like Austin Powers and stopped them. The guys, the Beatles, or whatever.
baby.
Come on.
you baby?
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so final thoughts on Redline. For my money, I do enjoy this movie a lot, for as much as I've criticized it. It's a super fun movie, It is one where you sort of have to just turn your brain off and accept the stupidity and ridiculousness of it and the fact that the ending makes
Like Bobobo.
no sense.
Yes.
But this is a different type, This is more along the lines of like...
It's not comedy based. It's more of, it's just super ridiculous.
Right, it's something like Ninja Scroll, just ultra violence because it's awesome, or more like Gurren Lagann, I would say.
That's what I was going to
Well,
equate it
this
to.
is basically full of like machinery porn and like it's basically racing porn. That's
a good
what
way
it
of putting
is.
it, yeah. I can dig
Sing
it.
porn.
Yeah, well, very much.
Show this to some NASCAR fanatic. He'd be like,
Well,
I have one of those in my dorm.
they probably wouldn't love it though because it's mostly futuristic cars. The only real cars that Trans
You
Am.
don't know NASCAR fans.
I don't.
they just
It's
like
true.
things that go around in a track. I mean, you could show them a horse and
Wait,
it's
yeah.
fast. It goes around in a circle.
Yeah, they'd probably be mad. Like they're not going in a circle. Why aren't they going in a circle?
Hey, they'll just be happy
There really
that the
is
car's
no, like-
explosion.
And
Yeah.
thank you for alienating whatever fan base we might have had.
Oh well.
So wait a minute.
We've
the-
lost all our
the race,
NASCAR
though,
fans.
It starts on a different planet. Like, isn't it start on Robo Planet's a legal planet, or is it always on Robo Planet?
No, it's
no.
always on Robo
Okay,
World.
okay.
They were
no,
going.
they didn't say it's always on Robo World.
Because I thought they started on the illegal one.
No.
This is the planet it chose to be. Yeah,
Oh, that's
they
right.
cho-
Because the government didn't want it there.
Yeah, the
Oh,
government
no.
didn't want it there. That's
Oh.
why those two racers drop out, and that's how
Okay,
JP
yeah.
I was
gets
making
in.
sure. So it is on Robo. Okay.
Yeah, it is on Robo World. It's not always there. They were staying on the neighboring planet just because there was some sort of treaty that meant Robo World couldn't attack them. There.
Yeah. Okay.
If they stay there, and that's where they launch the cars from, and then
There really is no track they have to ride on.
it's
Yeah.
just
It's
get to
like-
this destination.
Just terrain.
Some of them are going underground. I mean,
Yeah, well, there's no rules basically. I mean, you can kill each other.
That's
Truth.
Point.
true.
Blow each other up.
Oh,
Like
and can I
Red
just
Race.
point out, for Robo World being the most feared army in the galaxy, their soldiers can't aim worth
they're
crap.
pretty inconstant.
Welcome to the Empire effect or Stormtrooper effect.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're the highest trained enemy in the galaxy. We can't hit anything.
I know.
Or like that moment where Han Solo taps one on the shoulder and then runs the other way, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
It must have been.
Well,
the wind.
that's my favorite line is, and these blast marks too accurate for sand people.
No, they said-
Only Imperial
I believe
stormtroopers
I
are
don't
so
believe they said
precise.
accurate. I believe they used the word precise.
No, it's accurate.
Is it accurate?
Yeah, trust me.
That's-
I've
He's
seen
got
that.
a Millennium
painful.
Falcon shirt on.
It's
He
true.
knows.
I got cred.
Ask me about my
What the
Millennium
hell is an
Falcon.
aluminum falcon?
Yeah, I love that. What do you mean blew up the Death
Or,
Star?
or one of my other favorites is when the Emperor says, "An entire legion of my finest troops await them," and then the scout troopers get taken out by a bunch of Ewoks. God,
There were
I
a
love
lot.
it.
I love
I ignore
Ewoks.
episode 6. It never happened. Long live the Empire.
Thank you.
Episode 6 is great.
Again, I brought this point up before, but if they had stuck with the original way it was supposed to be written on Kashyyyk
With Wookiees.
with the Wookiees, it would have been okay.
That would have made more sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ewoks were awesome, but it would have made sense with the Wookiees. They still had them in episode 3, though.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
still would have been
I
better than the Ewoks or Wookiees.
It would have been Wookiees would have been epic. 'Cause if you guys played the game Republic Commando, the true power of the Wookiees is shown.
I don't know. In my opinion, episode 6, it's not I think it's the weakest of the original trilogy for sure. But the third act of that movie is so good. Like with the combination of the fight on Endor, the fight in space, and then the fight in the Emperor's throne room. Like it's,
Yep.
I love it. But this is not a Star Wars podcast, unfortunately. So
Change that.
I think we finished up our talk on Redline. So our final topic for this week is talking about the last episode of Psychopaths. However, Matt and Jeremy
Who have not finished.
have not seen it yet. But
All right.
before they go, let's real quick talk about what we want to do for next time. Just so
I
you
say
guys.
we watch Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Dude, I just watched that a few days ago. That movie is so good. Yes, voted. Yeah, upvote.
Well,
You don't know.
why?
Watch it now, Kenny.
Good.
My hopes and
They're
dreams are
actually
dashed
talking to your
against the
microphone.
rocks.
No, but
Thank you.
seriously, I do want to see Atlantis:
It's
The Lost
really
Empire
good.
again.
Oh, the Disney one?
Yes.
Well,
That one's good.
at least for me though, like we just finished
remember.
watching some movies, so I'd
I
rather
like
do a
the second
TV
one,
show
too.
and then maybe we can do a movie
Pretty
like
good.
next
I liked
time.
it.
All right.
Just personally, and well, I was just gonna say,
Watch Big O.
I'm going home this weekend.
Big
I can
O.
get Pokemon Heroes.
oh, you should do that.
Yeah, boy.
Because there are some people who definitely want
I
to do
still
that.
watch Sword for Truth.
Yes, you do. It's on YouTube. You can
Okay.
find it.
Talk to me, Kenny. I'll show it in my room.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
still
So
wanna see that.
as far as shows that we could do as potentials,
Abridged.
We
already
did that.
did that, Ken.
Shush. You. I was talking to Matt about this earlier. There's a show called Mongolian Chop Squad. We've mentioned that before. It's
Beck Mongolian Chop Squad.
Oh, wait, what's that one? Steins Gate.
There's Steins Gate. Yep. Beck Mongolian Chop Squad is
Bo,
like
bo, 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 bo.
a
I
band
agree.
show.
Yes.
But isn't Bobo like a lot of episodes?
You can watch the first 15.
Yeah, I was gonna say the English one wasn't as long. I didn't think they didn't do the whole series
It could be
I watched
provided.
I see.
it. Wait,
That's a if it's available on Hulu or something, that's a
That's right.
possibility.
Hulu, we can get it.
We got it.
If we're going for more like funny shows, like
This
I said,
bug is the bane of my existence.
Yeah, I know,
we got a little
seriously.
fly in here right now. There's Oran High School Host Club, which I've been enjoying recently, or Toradora, which I've mentioned before.
That's a long one though.
It's 20. It's only 25.
Only 25.
Yeah, and Toradora is actually really
pretty
good.
long.
I cannot guarantee that'll be done by
That's
this Thursday.
13. That's
Yeah.
13 hours.
I know, yeah, but I don't want to do if we're doing a 25 episode show, it would be for 2 weeks from now, not 1 week.
Ah, wait.
One Matt's mentioned before. There's a show called Anohana. It's only 11 episodes. So
I vote.
yeah, it's a moe show, but apparently it's actually good. Like I've seen
Apparently
it
there's
get
only real
high
one
reviews.
moe character in it.
Yeah, there's only that. There's a Tumblr post I made, and it's like, this is my favorite Moe show because there is only one Moe character.
I have that vote.
Okay, so that's a possibility. Lane. Let's not do Lane. Lane
Space
would be
Adventure
interesting.
Cobra.
No.
Yes.
One that I'd seen mention of. This is an older show, but one that like a lot of the older anime fans like say is one of the best ever. Cross Plus. It's 4 OVAs. They are available on Hulu. I saw. It's like 40 minutes
Alex,
each. Yep.
Alex, I'm not epileptic, but I'm pretty sure I'll have a seizure if I watch that show again.
Oh, again? So you've seen it?
I've seen some of it,
Not my thing.
and let's just say the flashing,
Oh,
Oh, really?
the flashing lights.
Oh,
And
Lord.
Flash. Oh, is that with Sharon Apple or what? The computer thing?
It was a while ago when I watched it. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
I
but
see.
Cross
I just-
Plus not recommended.
Well, some people recommend it. Robot Show. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, Steins Gate. We've got Durarara is on Crunchyroll. That's one that's been on Adult Swim for a long time. Sort of
friend
like
Kevin
Well,
loves
it aired
Baccano.
once and completely terribly flopped.
Really?
It's because they put it at the desk slot.
Well, no, they put it on when it was still Adult Swim action, but no one really cared because it was just
Let's
like,
see. Matt, have you seen Eden of the East?
I have seen all of Eden of the East. It's been a while. It's a good show.
Isn't it only like 13
It's
episodes
only
or something?
11 episodes.
Okay.
It's the problem with it is it has 2 films that go after it, and like you watch the first 11 episodes and go, "Whoa, this show's really smart," and then all of a sudden,
Oh, that happens.
it's only 11 episodes, and then the movies kind of debunk it and make it really dumb.
I see.
So it's like if you want to watch it, watch the TV series. Just pretend the movies don't exist.
Okay, so I don't know. Would you guys rather do like an 11 episode series and do that for next week, or would you rather assign like a 25 episode series and do a
Oh,
movie
people.
for next week? You know, to fill the time. Because as far as 25 episode series, there's like Toradora, Mongolian Chop Squad, Black Lagoon. Hellsing Ultimate isn't a TV show. That's a bunch
That's a
of
bunch of films.
like
though.
1 hour OVAs, but I'd like to do those eventually because they're fun. Darker Than Black, Code Geass, Mushishi. Have you ever seen Mushishi? I've heard
Yeah,
that's supposed to be
that's not-
good.
I don't recommend it for this podcast.
Well, why? Because it's more serious.
It's a slower series.
Yeah, it's slower, but we've done slower stuff on this before.
Yeah, but it doesn't fly too well.
Okay, fine. Fine. So
Watch it on your own time, Alex.
fine, I will then.
It's great.
I'll
You'll
just
love
go
it.
cry in a corner.
I just don't recommend it for the podcast.
All right, it's fine. So what? Any thoughts? Would you rather do shorter series or longer series? I need opinions here, people.
I'm good for both.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for your help
I
in
just want to
deciding
watch
things, Clara.
Anohana.
Okay, fine.
Watch Anohana. Watch Anohana.
Okay, we're doing Anohana. Fine.
Victory!
Victory!
Are you happy? We're doing a moe,
Victory
Jeremy.
screech!
It should make you nice and happy. All right, so
Jeremy's faces scare me. Don't look at me.
Oh, Lord.
I can't see you.
Jeremy's
Good
scary
morning.
faces. All right, so thank you guys for being here.
Yep, audio is great. Anohana. I'll be there
Anohana.
next time.
Orange
yes.
it.
All right, adios. Bye, Gigi. We'll miss you.
He gave us loving gestures with his hands.
Oh yes,
the
all of the
greatest.
loving gestures.
Oh Lord, that was the most intense one I've ever seen.
Jeremy just sneaked up behind Clara and gave her the death stare.
It was more than that. That's like what's. Imagine the guy from or Legend of Zelda.
Oh, the Happy Mask Keeper?
No. The guy
Girahim?
from the new one. Yeah.
Oh, Girahim.
Well, that's actually in game. That's what creeps me the hell out.
He's one of my favorite villains because of the fact he is so creepy.
Yeah, he.
I get
Well,
points,
and he's
yeah.
actually he's one of the hardest first bosses in
Oh
like
God,
any Zelda
yeah.
game.
Oh my God, yeah.
He kicks your ass.
boss?
Yeah.
He's the first boss.
Well, you fight him 3 times throughout the
Oh,
game.
wow.
It's
And
one
like
of
he
those
shoots
types.
things at you, and then you have to hit him in a certain way because he will follow your sword. And you have to trick him, but then he always knows what you're doing no matter what. So pretty much you just gotta flail at him.
No, there's a trick to doing
Well,
it.
yeah, there is
The,
a trick, but I mean,
it
it's
sounds like the
difficult if you
original-
don't know.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid. The guy who could read your
Oh,
memory.
Psycho
card and read your-
Mantis.
Yeah, I heard you like to play.
That's more of a
Yeah.
well, that's like a trick of plugging in your
Yeah.
actual game. You know, this is just you have what I would usually do against him is like make him follow my sword, like hold it in one certain direction for a few seconds, and then quickly go the opposite way, and then he doesn't have time to block it. That's
And you
my
gotta hit
trick.
as fast as you can.
That's
Yeah.
cool that he knows though. I like that.
It's
Yeah.
creepy.
That's a creepy
He is
mechanic.
cool,
I just like Link's face.
but we're not here to talk about Skyward
Yes,
Sword.
we are.
As much as I'd like to, because I love that game, we're here to talk about Psychopaths, specifically episode 22, the final episode of the
Shonen
show.
dies.
Ah.
Yes. Well, we kind of knew.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, there'll be spoilers for this. Obviously, we're talking
Caught
about
me off
episode
guard, though, is
22.
The fact that Kogami got away with it.
Really? So you didn't think? Yeah.
I
So
wanted him and Akane to run away together.
I wanted them to do this.
I know.
No kiss. No kiss.
The whole time I was like, make out, but she was like,
I was wondering.
upset.
There was actually a moment when I thought of you, Clara, because there's a moment where Kogami and Makshima's faces are super close together, like during their battle, and I just thought of you and your
No
catchphrase.
Connie was like looking like, guys, totally kiss. Like from the side. By the way, I know this is complete, like we're going in all different directions, but are what's her name and what's her name totally together?
Well, yeah, we already knew that.
I didn't know that. Am I
They said that
thick?
like in the first episode.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was like, whoa.
Or maybe the second
That's
episode.
cool. Like I never knew.
Shion and Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attractive, computer lady.
Computer lady and then the guitar lady. Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
I think they're cute.
Yeah. It was
adorable.
It was kind of cute.
It's like she's super mega hot and she's like slightly gothic and it's just really cute.
It's a good mix.
It's like panty and stocking.
Boom.
Uh,
You're right.
Oh boy.
That's what happened to them.
I never got to see that, but
Oh.
Please do.
Okay,
I've heard.
this was something I was telling Kenny earlier today, but you'll actually get it because you've seen Angel Beats. Okay, so I heard this theory on a podcast I was listening to because they
Oh,
were talking
yes.
about Angel Beats. So, you know TK from Angel Beats? What if he is a grown-up version of TK from Digimon? Because he has blonde hair. It could totally be him.
just the hair. That's why.
It would be amazing.
That'd be pretty great. That's why he doesn't remember anything about himself.
Yes, he's
At
like,
all. He had
I was in this
horrible
digital
amnesia.
world,
With
but they erased my mind.
Get Chow San look.
Exactly. You need to watch Angel Beats, dude. It's a good show.
Totes.
Okay, so I guess we'll start at the beginning of the episode. We've got our cool little knife fight between
And he
Kogami
actually got him this
and
time.
Makishima.
He
I was
bested
really
him.
proud of
Yeah,
Kogami.
I'd have to rewatch the episode to make sure, but so did Kogami have a second knife?
No, he just Makishima pinned his arm down, but he's like, "I'm gonna slice your hand off." He's like, "Nope, I'm gonna twist my hand in a weird way and then catch you off guard and slice you."
Yeah, because the fact that he was so strong with his hand twisted backwards and deflected it, I was like, dang, Kogami. Yeah, swish it and then just cut him. That's pretty much what
Yeah.
killed him. That's what, in the end, made him die.
Yeah,
He was just so weak.
bled out.
Because he got him deep. He was bleeding the entire time after that.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh man."
And he crashed a
I thought he was gonna have a huge mental breakdown because he's like, "Oh God, blood."
Yeah, he's like, I didn't think that
I
would
hope-
make me bleed my own blood.
I know. I hope not because that ruins your villain cred a bit.
But so, I
Or
mean,
Or just
gonna-
have like that maniacal, like, "Oh boy, now it'll be fun."
A la Light Yagami from the end
the
of
one
Death
line
Note.
I do
Exactly.
like, though, is that he's like, I never thought it'd be somebody else, not the Sybil system, who would kill me. When he says that.
Oh yeah.
When he's crawling away at the end, I was like, you're right.
Yeah,
right.
well,
Right.
in Akane's, voicing over again, like, they were two of a kind, They understood each other better than anyone else. But before that, though, because we got Makishima hurting Kogami, and then they're about to charge, and then randomly it's like, oh, there's this electric bomb in our face,
Yeah.
and Makishima, like, does a crazy kick and hits it up in
He
the
probably
air.
opened his wound a whole bunch when
Yeah.
he did that.
They did a double, triple, like, backflip. I was like, dang.
And then apparently he just vanishes because the next shot you see, he's gone.
Yeah, it's just Kogami. And she's like, stop. I'm like, she's gonna shoot. And she's like, take this gun.
See, I saw this little comic of like when I watch anime, I normally flip through Tumblr while I'm doing commercials on Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
So I just typed in Psychopaths to see what I could find because I don't really care if I spoil myself because I'm gonna see it anyways.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of her shooting him in the spine, like, no, I said stop. And the next one, she's shooting him like, no, stop, I mean it. And then at the end is like her just like throwing the gun at his head. Why don't you just stop? And I just thought she was actually gonna like throw it at him and knock him out.
That'd be so
But
awesome.
it never happened. And I was like, oh man.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I guess when we were doing all our theories last week, I had thought of the idea of her just giving the paralyzer to Kogami, which was kind of cool. And I liked seeing them, and they're doing like their duo thing where they're like back to back, and moving
They're
like
so
in
perfect
sync.
together.
Were they communicating through their minds?
No, well, I think they're just like that in tune, I guess. And they were also doing hand signals and stuff, I think.
But when she jumped on the back of that truck and he's like, no, and I'm like, oh god, he's so concerned.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cute.
Well, I also like the part before that where they're going after Makishima and Akane's doing this voice, or they both are doing sort of a voiceover thing, and she's going on about like her idea of the law and how like the law isn't for the people are who make the law, and like what's in their hearts is what the law is, and all this stuff. Like, and Kogami said, if all people thought like that, then we wouldn't need the civil system. Which I thought was sort of a cool philosophical aspect, to add
I am glad
into
that at the end
it.
that she was kind of like peeved with the civil system, saying it was going to fall no matter what. Like, it's like, no matter what, you
Yeah.
won't succeed.
Yeah,
I was hoping she'd take it down. That's one thing I felt
I know.
a little,
I wanted that to happen.
because it's still a thing, but she does have a good point, and I believe the fact that it will eventually come down in that series.
Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, the fact of the matter is, if she took down the civil system right then and there, which she might not have even been able to do,
Probably not.
that would basically lead to a complete collapse of society and like utter chaos and anarchy.
And she understands that, which is why she's so special.
Exactly. Which, it's on the one hand, it frustrates me because I wanted to see some sort of change, like, and really the civil system is still just as in place as it was at the beginning
Well,
of
it
the
does have more of
show.
a change because first of all, it's saying how it's going to go to its next evolution, like revealing it to everybody, but also the fact that she's kind of pointed out that you're not going to be able to last. Like almost like not saying she's going to make sure of it, just it can't happen. So we know, at least in our heads, we can make it so it fails.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's
thing.
probably
It's up to you
a
how it
In the
happens.
future.
But I think it heavily favors that kind of thing.
So I'm thinking though, like, this is back to like when Akane shoots the tire and the
That was
truck
impressive.
thing. Just like I was scared she was gonna die, but when it just falls in the field, that whole place is just completely automated. There aren't humans there, so who's gonna clean that truck up?
Oh my God, you're right.
Well,
Why is there a truck in my
I mean, the police will probably show up later to like
I hope
clean
so.
up the crime scene.
I really hope
Yeah,
so, because
those-
that truck is just there and it's
know,
got
and
like
everybody's
dangerous
food.
chemicals.
Like,
Yeah.
I
And oh
guess-
my god, when he had the gun to her head, I was like, no, 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 no,
when
no,
it
no,
clicked,
no.
The fact that she shot's what got me. I'm like, is he gonna wait and then is Kogami gonna stop him? He shot, and I was like, oh my god, she would have died if there'd been that.
Yeah.
But I counted, there was 6 shots, so he did legitimately not have one.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting was I thought when Makishima was driving that truck, like it was going to turn out that he had like one backup plan. He had some sort of evil chemicals in that truck, and they
He
were
was
going to
gonna
go
spill it
everywhere.
all over everything.
And he like Makishima was going to die, but he was still going to accomplish his plan or something like that. But turns out no, it was
He's
just
like,
a
"Nope, just
truck.
running away.
And then with the whole thing where when he had the gun pointed to Akane's head, I legitimately thought like, wow, maybe now that she's given the Dominator to Kogami, maybe she's gonna die and like Kogami is gonna be the one who lived. And I thought it was gonna be the opposite. What I didn't quite understand was Makishima, clicks the gun. There's no bullets left in it. He says something and then drops the gun and just runs away. Why exactly didn't he just kill her?
It was kind of
She probably couldn't have gone after. He
Yeah.
didn't have his knife anymore.
We could have
And-
strangled her though.
Oh, right, but then
He could
Kogami's
stop
like
her,
right
yeah.
there.
Well, the thing is, the way he was saying it's like now it's like your time to die kind of thing, and like more or less that's what I equated to. And he shot, and he said like apparently not. Like the next word was like apparently not. Then he walked away. So he's kind of saying like it's not your time
I'll
to
have to
die.
rewatch that to
Pretty
see
much
what the
it was.
line
Well, I
was.
mean, she's never been his focus. It's always been Kogami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just
So
out
it's
of
just like,
convenience,
you're whatever. So you can just lie here, probably half dead already.
And he realized if he shot her, Kogami would go Super Saiyan and actually kill him with a beam cannon.
Super
so, I mean,
Saiyan.
That would work because he's got black hair.
yeah, you just hear
Saiyans always have black hair.
like a beam cannon. You hear Kaioken times 10 or something, and he'd be like, "Well, crap.
That would have been the best plot twist ever.
Kaioken times 10. Goku, is that you?"
Yeah. What did you guys think of, after that, we get Makishima and Kogami running through the fields there and sort of Makishima like accepting his own death, and
I was
just sort of
like,
sitting
lame.
there. Yeah, I have to
Lame.
admit, like for as cool as Makishima had been built up to be,
At least he could have looked Kogami in the face and been like, "Yes, you can shoot me."
not even that for me. I just mean more in general with his sort of like final plan here. It's this whole like, poisoning the crop thing. I was like, okay, whatever, and then it just seems like he gets foiled rather easily, compared to before where he had always was like deceiving people or had a backup plan. And this, his one plan was to, make those machines work and change the chemical, to a poison basically. They shut down the power. He tries to kill them, fails at that, and just runs away, and that's
Kills
it.
the old man.
Well, yes, which makes us hate him all the more. But and that was sort of I don't want to say it was a cool moment because it was a sad moment, but it was
devastating.
But it was a moment of like building up Makshima's character. Once again building him up as a villain. Whereas this, he didn't have a breakdown, but it certainly was him in a more pathetic state.
It was
he's
like
bleeding
the end
out.
of Death Note.
Yeah, well, but it's not to that extent. He's not
Right.
sitting there screaming on the ground like gasping and pleading for people who aren't even alive anymore.
I know, but the whole fact that like he's killed pretty much by something he created, because he was the one who made Kogami start like freaking out in the first place, because he was the one who orchestrated the murder of his partner.
Sassafras.
Yeah, Sassafras. Whatever his name
Good old
is.
Sassafras.
Sassafras. He killed that guy and then made Kogami so obsessed that he became an enforcer. And then he started messing with Akane, and that made Kogami even angrier because that's like his lady. That's his woman. And
That's his lady.
that's his
Come
lady.
on.
That's his girl. And then the whole just rivalry they have between them. So at the end, it's finally like,
Yeah.
well, you're killed by what you created.
Yeah,
Oops,
well,
smiley face.
and Makshima's going on there near the end about like how he was alone, and I thought everyone in this world, was alone. The world created by Sybil, and everyone's miserable. And what relationships can exist in this world, and sort of going.
The ones between Akane and Kogami, those are the kind of relationships that exist. Ship.
This is something I just thought of, but I was expecting to see a scene where Akane was told that the old man had died and like seeing her be really sad, but we never got that.
She probably had a really big breakdown off screen, but we shouldn't see.
Yeah, because she takes. First of all, we did call Ganoza being an enforcer. That's something that you knew was going to
Totally.
happen.
Yeah.
But
So if he
Ever
wasn't
since-
I thought he might die, like
'Cause he
show
went
up
to,
in the final
Did
battle.
he get a metal hand too?
that's why I thought. I saw
Because
like, oh my
I
God,
thought
it's full
maybe he
circle.
did because his arm was all like,
Yeah,
meh.
me too. I thought I saw metal arm. I was looking really close because I was
'Cause
hoping it would
I
be.
was like, maybe they're gloves. I can't tell because it looked like there were joints in
Yeah.
there, and I'm just like, oh god, that'd be so great. Full circle.
I'll have to rewatch that.
he did
I wasn't
go to the
looking.
grave though, and she knew the grave was there because she took him there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and a little detail that I thought was kind of cool. They zoom in on the objects there, and you can see the keys to the apartments. That means Kogami was definitely at that grave at one point.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me. I knew the last few seconds would be of Kogami's. That's why I waded through everything, and I was like,
Yeah.
there he is.
Yeah.
And
I
he
did.
noticed.
I did like the whole way the end of the episode was very much paralleling the first episode.
loved it.
It was same location, same everything. Just it was another girl, but she also had brown
Yeah,
hair.
well, and you also got to see, how Akane had grown, but also like, she's giving the speech about the enforcers, but whereas Ginoza had said, they're rabid dogs, they're nothing like us. Don't
Yeah.
try to associate with them. She said they're human like us, but
Be careful.
be careful with them.
Be civil, but be careful.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
so shows her mentality with the whole thing. And
Then oh my god, Gino, it's like, do you wear glasses just for show? And
That
he's
was the
like,
best.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like my face.
By the way,
yeah, that was
It was cute.
it was cool seeing him, say goodbye to his dad. And
He's definitely opened up.
I did think it was interesting how Gino said like, I'm not worried about. They were talking about someone else. He's like, I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about you. And then Akane just sort of brushes it off, and it's not brought up again. But I wonder if Akane is sort of just a broken woman at this point because Kogami's left. And
Maybe just because she's taken over everything, and he's like, "Will be too much for you, girly," and she's like, "Shh, don't worry about it."
maybe that is it. I don't
It's
know.
like-
Because she's got a heavy burden on her shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
basically working with the Sybil system and knowing what it is, and not
way.
being able to do anything about it.
if you look very closely and zoom in the frames, the last 7 seconds, you can see her in the background. So they're in the same apartment. They're totally living together.
Uh-huh,
did you see that? I
sure.
saw it. My brain put it there, and I was like,
They're together forever. See, I wanted to see
should be.
Kogami with his little like psychic friend.
that's what I was hoping.
I wanted them to be together, like sipping tea and being like, "Yeah, still running." He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's true. I remember you guys saying earlier on the podcast that you thought we'd see Detective Holmes get killed, but never.
I was hoping they'd
never
end up like he was living there, at least stopping by. I was really hoping he'd at least say goodbye to his friend because that would be awesome. But
Like, what is
Well, he probably
doing?
did. They just didn't show it. Also, the new inspector that shows up. Had we seen her before? Was she a new
No, she's
character?
No, I wanted her to be like someone we've seen before.
Yeah, I was hoping like who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
And
it
it's
was
like
just-
random chick.
Random
Yeah.
chick.
But it's cool. That's how
Apparently
Beta
under
was.
18 because she said she was a minor.
So it's just totally full circle.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Apparently, there's gonna be a lot of female inspectors around now since Gino's been kicked out, and now it's just Akane and the new chick.
And then she's gonna fall in love with Gino, and then Gino's gonna have to avenge something, and oh my god,
It's gonna repeat
loud.
again.
It's gonna repeat all over again
His
forever.
dad, I was gonna say his dad's killed. but he's
Makishima
dead.
accidentally has a daughter because he's so Bishonen.
Yeah, because
and-
he's been shown in his heck.
Even though he's dead.
Maybe the
His-
Sybil system like took his DNA and started cloning him.
Wait. We have more of him. Oh my god.
Maybe they're the ones who sent him out in the first place.
Sequel. I smell a
What?
sequel or a movie.
Yeah. Well, they could
Like
they
the
could do a
lost scenes.
sequel.
Director's cut.
Director's good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what was it the civil system was going on about with specifically with Akane? You know, they were talking about how like her information would provide like new data for their like part of their evolution. You know,
Maybe
basically.
just like they're gonna see the world through her eyes, kind
I
of
guess.
thing. Where it's like we'll
Yeah.
see how accepting the world has become. We'll see like what she thinks,
right.
and
Well,
then they'll judge based on that.
yeah,
Because they have
I-
cameras everywhere.
I think they are a little crazy if they really think that if they reveal themselves like, hey, we're a bunch of brains, people are just gonna be like, oh, okay,
That's cool.
it's cool.
I've seen weirder stuff.
You know, yeah, whatever. I
I've
don't
seen
mind.
worse.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember at the very end, he Kogami, you know, in that little apartment that he's in, he's got a book there. It was The Swan's Way, is what it was called. I was trying to remember if we'd seen that before. If that
I think
was
he mentioned
significant.
reading it.
Makishima.
Yeah, he mentioned it
'Cause-
before.
I think Makishima and Kogami should just have some sort of literary club because apparently they've both
Book
read like
clubs.
all these books. They're able
Not
to
anymore
quote
because
them. Like,
Makshima's dead.
well, yeah, but
That's his clone. Sequel.
I can imagine like if they had like on the DVD if they had like funny like chibi bloopers, you know, of just the characters being funny. That would be a nice little scene to have there.
Like alternate universe.
I would
Yes.
dig
They
it.
have a book club. Akane's their mascot because she's so cute.
Oh my god, that'd be
Yes.
fantastic. See, I know in Redline, I was thinking
And
the
Kagari would still be alive.
Oh,
my
love
sadness is
him.
overwhelming.
Sadness.
But in Redline, I was thinking like, hey, the police are just like the police bots are just like the ones from like Psychopaths. I'm like, except they got lasers.
except they can kill
and
people.
they kill
And like
people.
napalm. What
Yeah.
what was
And
that stuff? It just
arms.
exploded and people were like, oh, I'm stuck.
Yeah,
What is that?
indeed. Yeah. So, what are you guys' overall thoughts? At least for me, I thought it was a good ending, but after how powerful and emotional the last episode was, and maybe it's just me, you know, like loving the show so much or getting too hyped up for it, but I was expecting that there would be some sort of twist, you know, that Gen Urobuchi would throw in something that I wasn't expecting, you know, either with a character dying or with Makishima succeeding or the Sybil system getting changed or something happening basically that I didn't expect.
Now twist.
And in the end, it was all pretty, you know, nothing that ridiculously, you know, twisty happened. You know, Makishima died, Kogami left, Akane became head
maybe-
inspector, Ginoza became enforcer, repeat of the first episode.
Maybe that's the biggest twist, that there was none at all. It's a straightforward ending.
Yes.
I suppose, because what's interesting is at the very, very end, even after the Kogami scene, there's a little bit of text that comes up, and I wrote it down because I thought it was significant. It said, the chain of justice, the system, never ends, and the corner said, Sybil still continues.
I was like, oh
so,
man.
so that's obviously what they're going for, which I can get because Gen Urobuchi is sort of a darker writer, so it's not like everything isn't a happily ever after.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the society still exists as it did before.
See, I don't know if this is important or anything, but I've always seen Akane wearing skirts. I don't know why she's always wearing skirts, but in that last scene she's wearing pants.
Whoa.
And I'm like, now you are a woman.
Whoa.
You're not just a cute little girl. You're
It
a
is
woman
official.
because you're wearing pants now.
You
She got a big
graduated
girl-
to pants.
She's got her big girl pants, but I don't know.
She
She
got the
just
pants.
changed. Like something about her is just more mature now, and I don't know. Something I just noticed about characters.
Yeah.
I ship it.
I ship it.
Of course,
Akane in pants.
You would always ship it, wouldn't you,
Pants.
Clara? Kenny, what do you think of the ending?
I was happy with it. It's everything I expected to happen, except I didn't expect Kogami to get away with it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what do you think he's doing? You know, is he just in retirement, quote unquote,
Vacation.
or is he hunting criminals?
Book club. Does he still have the? No, he doesn't have the enforcer anymore. The dominator anymore.
No.
I
With
would
a gun.
almost say. I mean, I could see it either way. Honestly, either like now that his goal's done, he has nothing else to really go. His whole life was that.
But I feel like, well, but his whole life was, he was trying to be a detective, trying to be justice, and Makishima sort of took him away from that path. But I still feel like he's duty bound enough, that he would try to do what he could, to be sort of a vigilante.
Yeah.
But
Either way,
that's just me. He doesn't seem like the type to just sit or lays around, for the next 50 years in retirement.
That'd be
Though he
awesome.
deserves it
He's
after all the
probably
good
for
he's
waiting
done.
for the right time for everything to blow over so we can go up to Akane and be like, yo, want to get married?
Yeah. Let's get married and move to Vegas.
Yeah,
She'd be like,
he's probably
"Okay, man."
he's probably waiting for Akane to like 20 years from now, come and be like, it's time to take down the Sybil system. The time has come.
Maybe
And he's
that's
be
what-
like, oh yeah.
What if they're still in cahoots and she's just ignoring the fact that like no one else knows? Like, oh, I don't know anything what you're talking about.
I'm telling you.
Hey, Kagami, you want to get some lunch?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, wear wigs.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it though because like,
I know.
To be fair, Akane didn't arrest Kogami, like when she found him with Makishima, but at the same time,
She needed his help.
yeah, and the fact that now he is a full-blown killer, which she wanted to avoid him doing,
She cried.
would she be able to live with herself, like letting a criminal, go free?
I don't think she really has a choice right now. No one knows where he is.
I know, but I'm saying like, if they met up again, like if they were seeing each other all the time, would she be willing to do that and let Kogami stay secret, or would she feel duty bound to arrest him?
That's the big thing, though, because like there's just so many mixed feelings about that. Because she's bound by duty, but if they ran into him when they were on a mission, she would probably go into paralyzer mode if possible. But since his crime coefficient is probably like 1 billion right now, probably would not be the case.
probably just-
She might accidentally let him get away or something, but I really don't know. But then if they just met on like a street, she would probably be like, let's go somewhere where no one can see us and talk about things.
Right. So, Clara, what were your opinions on the ending?
It was, like you said, I felt like there could have been more. In the beginning, the animation kind of like threw me off because I'm like, this looks weird. But
Really, I thought the
like just
animation
in the
there was
fight
nice.
scene, it just looked slightly off. I don't know. Something about it was weird to me. But maybe because I hadn't seen it in a while. But Makishima turned into a little baby at the end. I thought he would like put up a little bit more of a fight. He's like, no, I'm gonna run away. Plans didn't work out. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was Weasley, but I mean, at that point, it's just like he's completely giving up.
Yeah. I
After
agree.
he got slashed, he's like, welp, done.
I bled. It's over.
I would say I agree with you. Like, it was a good ending. It was a solid ending to the show, but it could have been better.
I liked what they did with Gino and his dad. It was resolving, and it was just
Oh, like how he called him dad.
yeah. I'm like, oh god,
the
my
glasses
heart,
too.
my heart. And it just everything about that was just, and like how they actually gave him a burial after people were like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, well, one thing I noticed, you see all the other graves around him. None of them have anything decorating them, but his has all this stuff. Like,
Probably because it's fairly old.
well, I guess, but still, the fact that no one else has any things on
Nobody
their
loves
parents'
them.
graves, that's kind of sad.
Maybe it's a place for just people who are undesirable.
Maybe it's enforcers.
Maybe enforcer graveyard could be, since they are sort of latent criminals. They're outcasts from society.
They
in a
would
way.
enforce that kind of thing, wouldn't they? Anyway, man, don't police me into doing that.
I just stabbed Kenny with a pen,
Police,
but it wasn't extended, so it didn't hurt much. Much. Yeah. So I guess real quick, we'll give overall thoughts on the show in general. I was obviously, if you listened to the earlier podcast, I was really I do like this show a lot. It wouldn't be in my top 10, but it'd be like in my top 20. That's about how I would rank it. It was enjoyable. The characters were good. Had some downright amazing moments. Like episode 11, episode 16. It did some interesting things with commenting on like
21.
yeah, episode 21 as well.
Cry,
commenting
cry,
on
cry.
society and like the Sybil system, and just getting into this whole what do you want to call it? I'm trying to think. There's a term for the
Synonyms, go.
like from 1984, or what type of writing is that called? What type of storytelling is that? I'm
don't know.
It's escaping me. Whatever, I'll think of it later. But just showing this futuristic world, and like what society would be like if this was the case, and all the bad things that happen with it.
dystopian?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, yeah, that kinda got me.
a dystopian sort of tale, and like I said, characters were good. I really liked Akane, Kogami, the old man. Like every character had something, that made them interesting and likable. Had some cool like the secondary villains, throughout like the first half of the show, like the cyborg guy or the crazy art girl. Those were all cool, and it had some nice twists and turns, and mysteries and crime solvings and all that. And then the whole commentary and with the big mob going crazy in the second half, and then the reveal of the Sybil system, so there's a lot of great moments throughout the show. I would say, at the very end, it did, compared to how good the rest of the show was, the ending was just good, whereas the rest of the show was great. If it had had a great ending, it probably would be in my top 10.
What was your ideal ending, Alex?
That's the thing. It's hard to say for sure. Like I said, I just wanted some sort of twist, some sort of surprise, either for Makishima, like you said, to not be so much of a baby, to actually have some final plan or some final, moment or fight or something. I didn't necessarily have to have Kogami or Akane die, but it would have been. It's weird because all these things that I want to have happen, like to have Akane and Kogami, like, establish what the relationship is, basically, whether it's actually happening, whether it's not, instead of leaving it so vague, or having something happen with the Sybil system, whether it's, is it going to be completely destroyed, or was it going to just be changed slightly? I would like to see something with that, and that's just, me wanting dramatic conclusion to these things, whereas this was a bit more open-ended of an ending, where it's like, life continues on, things are much like they were at the beginning of the first episode as far as the world is concerned, even though the characters have changed significantly. So I guess I was looking for more of that, but at the same time, in this more realistic world that Gen Urobuchi has made, it's not all tied up with a bow and a ribbon at the end and happy ending. It is a bit dark and a bit more ambiguous and
That's what
gray.
I love about anime, though, is because they can do that. Like American shows, people would be pitching a fit when there wasn't some resolution at the end, there wasn't some type of happy ending for someone.
Yeah, well, it's a thing that's true of, like, if you look at American films and TV shows in general, like compared to European cinema, we like having conclusive endings, like your happily ever afters, whereas in European cinema it's often a lot more either dark of an ending or things are a lot more vague and they don't answer all the questions.
Unless it's Hot Fuzz. That movie's just great.
I haven't seen Hot Fuzz, so.
Oh, what about Shaun of the Dead? Actually, that does end very depressing. Never mind.
Well, it's also a mock.
I mean, the thing, yeah.
Dawn
Mocking.
of the Dead.
That's so.
Sorry, so I went on there for a while, but that's my thoughts on Psychopaths as a show. Kenny,
It was good.
that's it?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it.
Okay. And Clara,
I loved all the characters, all of them,
what happened?
minus Makishima.
What happened to the ones who died?
Well, I mean, the main characters, like all the enforcers, Akane, Gino,
Right, the inspectors.
minus the chief lady, that witch. But
Yeah, she was
like
still
I
there.
just all the characters, we got stories about what they were, who they were, their reasons for becoming an enforcer. There really wasn't a character that we didn't know a lot about, minus Shion. I wanted to know a little bit more about her, besides the fact that she and Gothic chick are together,
Well,
which I ship.
that's
but-
that's another thing. I brought that up earlier in the show or in the one of the podcasts about the fact that they had, I think it was episode 12 was the first episode of like the second half of the show, and that was the flashback episode with her past, basically.
But I feel like it was also significant because it had like sassafras in it.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name.
I know.
It was like sarcophagus.
start with an S. That's all we
Yeah.
know. But it did have some development of the other characters like Kogami, like Sassafras, like Ginoza. But we should. That just should have been his name in the show.
It's the American name.
Would have been much
We'll
better.
stick with that.
But it's
when
like
they dub it. But and I was hoping that she would take a larger. Maybe she would be a larger
Role.
focus, in the second half of the show because she had that episode. But she just gets it and then literally does nothing. Like
I mean,
throughout
it
the rest
kind
of
of
the show.
also shows like the role of enforcers and like where people end up when they are not enforcers and they're just criminals that need rehabilitation, and how they're pretty much treated like convicts.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes care of a bunch of things at once.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was a waste of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
It did address some important things, but it just felt disconnected. Like
it was a little out of place. Just
it's
being
like it's
why
a,
you?
Yeah, it's a one-off episode where you could have taken the episode out and nothing of the main plot would have been lost.
Right.
So I just wish it had added something to the overarching story.
And like I said, Akane, I can relate to her in many different ways. I don't really exactly know why I can relate to her, but I can just be like, I like you, and I see things about you that I see in myself.
Well, you made the point that, you had friends like Akane's who.
Yes, I do have friends that yell at me for being smart, but, well, I'll have a future, so.
Take that.
Take that. It's okay, I don't talk to them anymore, but it's okay. Sidetrack. What else? I like the artwork.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about animation, music, both top notch.
I love the second theme song.
Yeah.
I
So
sing it all the
good.
time.
Yeah, the song itself is good, but also the animation that goes
All
with
the
it.
beginning is just so
good.
great. I like the different colors and the shadows.
I also
and
quite like the second ending theme. Is very pretty.
Oh yes.
It's very, very. I'm trying to think of the word. It's very light,
Yes.
very light and delicate.
I actually think my final words would be that the old man,
Yeah.
he is the writer of the series in more ways than one, and that's why I like him.
That's
he
interesting.
is the best like father figure
dad,
to
he-
everyone but Gino, because Gino won't accept him.
Yeah, but whereas Ryder was the most interesting, like charismatic character in that show, I would say that would go more towards Makishima because Makishima is very interesting and very charismatic.
I'm not saying the charismatic point. The fact that he gives the advice to everybody. He kind of has this old school way of looking at things, and he does die heroic death. I mean, he's saving somebody's life, kind of thing, like a heroic death. And
That's
he's
true.
The one big
He
person who
truly
dies, and everybody's
loved
like, "Holy
his
crap!"
son
Yes,
so
in the
much.
way of giving advice and the heroic death, you're right about that.
And that's really what.
And the charismatic part meant though he didn't
oh, yeah,
have that
Makishima
quite
was
so
extremely
much.
charismatic. That was his thing.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like if I was in Akane's position, I would definitely gravitate towards him, just being like an older, more like wise
mentor.
fellow who's got this like really calm, like, oh hey, let's do this, little missy. I'd be like, all right, sir. Like,
Yeah.
I would be so excited
You're
to work with
the-
him.
You're the Full Metal Alchemist. I'll
You
do whatever
are.
you want.
And like just about him, I really want to know what happened to his arm. I'm assuming
they
something
never
would happen to
explained
Gino or like some accident, but we
Yeah.
really don't
His
know.
dad saved him against some super villain, and he was like, "Man,
I'm destined to one day save my
full
son.
circle."
Full so everything about this is full circle.
And then you find out he goes to Kane. I'm actually your dad, by the way. He knows as your brother.
plot twist.
That's a good point. We never got anything about Akane's parents or
sure
family
they
of any
existed.
sort.
We heard
Well, yeah.
that they didn't approve of her what job she took, kind of sort of like
Oh, I don't remember.
it was like
that.
she's very well. I mean, it was the whole psychic guy who's like, you've got some parents. They're still both alive. They're not too happy about you doing this job. You have a grandma. By the way, that your mouth twitched when I said grandma, so I know for some reason. I'm psychic. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I have a nice scarf and glasses and beard, and just
yes.
everything about him is so fancy. But
Yes, he was Sherlock Holmes. There's no question.
like I said, the way that they draw some things is the same way I draw some things. So I was like, yeah, that's how I do it. But I don't know.
All right.
I really like how they design their characters and how they all have specific characteristics about them. Like, Kagari had those little clips in his hair. Akane's eyes are just like slightly like, they don't look like another character that I can actually like put. Like, they always kind of look like she's confused and like naive, but they can also be really intense at the same time. Kogami is like
She had
real
these-
serious.
Yeah, she had super like round eyes.
Yeah, it was like very childish, but then like even when she's like older, like they're just different in some way. Like that you can tell that she's getting more mature.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, she's so cute. Just all the characters had something about them that I absolutely loved. And like there really wasn't a character who I was like, stop being on screen, except for the chief. But I mean, she's not important to me. Main characters, enforcers, none of them I disliked, and I like having an anime where I dislike no one.
Yeah. I will say I didn't dislike her, but she, like Shion and the computer lady, definitely got the least development out of them all. So,
Yeah.
they were, I didn't really care too much for them. But
But like oh, I lost it. Makishima. I love him as a villain.
right.
Until the end, then he's kind of wimps out. But I mean, like everything about him is like, I'm gonna ruin everything
Really?
just cause.
So even because, as I recall, last week after poor Pops got taken
Okay,
off, you were very anti Makishima.
Oh,
that
I
day.
hate him as a person. I hate him as a character, just of how much he just destroys everything by touching it. But he's a great villain.
I destroy everything I touch.
No, Kelly, no.
touch turns to suck.
Everything I touch dies.
Everyone
Quote
takes
Fairly
a
Odd
sip.
Parents.
I love that episode, but
Yeah.
just he's a great villain.
Yeah, he's a villain you
just-
love to hate.
He's totally doesn't care at all about society. He fights everything. He's very egotistical. He's very cunning, and he never is like in the spotlight. He's always in the shadows, playing everything out. Other people do things for him. He's like, oh yes, here, take these helmets. Now go wreak havoc, and don't tell anyone where you got them. All right, see ya, bye.
Don't tell anyone where you got them. Wink.
Wink. And then they're like, all right, let's break stuff. And then they all get apprehended, and they're like, what?
What? I didn't see this happening.
No way.
All right. Well, so that's our thoughts on Psychopaths. It's been fun.
And Kogami
It's been fun.
forever.
All the shifts.
All the shit.
It's been fun doing a current show. You know, we haven't done one of these since we did Legend of Korra back last year.
That needs to come out.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Like now.
It'll be avenged. Well, they're taking their time to make it good.
They
so-
better make it
Yeah, it's
good.
gonna be quality. They
Yeah.
should just write what's his name out of the show.
What, Mako?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
First
don't.
episode, he dies tragically in the background for some guy shanking him. Well, Mako's out of the show.
Good.
Whoops.
The show increases by like 50%
Yeah, I was gonna
betterness.
say 50-fold.
That would be interesting, actually. I wonder if, you know, because it certainly seems like, at least from our reactions, you know, Mako's not exactly the most likable character.
I don't like
Think
like
they'd
there are
be
people
willing
who
to kill
love him
Yeah.
because they always like shipped him and Korra together since the beginning. Since I love Bolin because he's adorable.
He had the flowers and everything.
I know, he even bought her cake and
He
he didn't
ate himself
expect
drunk.
anything out
Yeah.
of that.
Like,
Yeah.
he ate
He's
himself
so
into a stupor.
perfect. I love
so
him.
Yeah, we've said several times Bolin needs to get a girlfriend in season 2.
I heard
a really
rumors of
hot
that.
girlfriend
Yeah,
and say,
apparently
screw you guys.
the voice actor tweeted something hinting at it at one point.
Oh my
so,
god, cannot wait. She better be awesome.
Yeah. So, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techheadsou. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're AVW Media there. You can give us some ratings, reviews on iTunes. You know, let us know what you think of the show, good or bad. We like
5
hearing
thumbs up.
criticism. I am Darth Schmitz on Twitter.
Kenneth_McNulty.
Clara Lillian.
That's right. So you can follow all of us. Thank you two for being here on this episode, and to the ghosts of Gigi and Matt, you know, for also being here.
The opposite seats.
You're welcome, Alex. Yeah, whatever.
Wait, what was that? Yeah, whatever.
That was Jeremy.
Oh, okay. That's her Jeremy
No, I'm just
impersonation.
gonna like make little wave motions while making a grumpy face. There's Jeremy.
That's all he
terrifying
amounts to.
The spirit
And
of
we
Jeremy
know
is with
we know
us.
he doesn't listen to the podcast, so we can say whatever we want about him, and he'll never know.
Going to now.
Oh man,
I doubt it.
he's gonna come tomorrow with the baseball bat. What the hell did you guys saying about me?
Well, I mentioned the fact that we mentioned his birthday on the podcast last week, and he got this angry look on his face.
Yo,
I
he
told
brought it up later,
everyone.
He was pissed. It was
Like
you
last
know,
week
one
when he's
thing-
like, "Wait, today's your birthday?" and we're all like, "It's your birthday." He's like, "Yeah, I don't want anyone to know." Everyone I saw the day I told him it was
yeah, be
Jeremy's
careful.
birthday.
He's really upset with you for it.
Aw.
Yesterday, he was like, the one thing I told her not to do, and he was.
I don't know. He
How-
did seem
I didn't
legitimately
even,
mad.
I think I
when
just
talked
told
to him.
Alex,
No, he was
and then I told
joking.
people who don't know Jeremy.
No, the thing is, he was joking, but he's still kind of like, but we were like, he wasn't too.
We didn't do anything, so I mean,
No, he's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, he
We
just
didn't make
said
a
he's
big
upset.
deal
and he's
about
don't
like,
get over it.
But
He'll be
we
fine.
we can register it for next year, and we'll throw a huge party next
and
year.
he'll get really mad at us.
Well,
surprise party. You pulled a
okay.
shotgun.
What
at
we
their
need to
lives.
do is make a cake that looks like Gigi.
Actually, what we need to do is make like proxies of ourselves, send in the robots for mind controlling, so when he kills them, we don't actually die.
That's not a bad idea.
With
You
a
know,
Gigi
have
cake.
little dummies in your bed that night so he doesn't murder you in your sleep.
Good thing I don't live in the same house as he will.
Oh, I will. Oh dear.
I'll have
That's
Laura and
scary.
Amy to protect me.
That's
I'll be
true.
across campus literally, so I'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. He could get like a sniper rifle out and like bend the
I have
bullet.
like 60
Ba-shoom.
buildings in the way. I think yell Bishonen. He'll be like, Bishonen strike! And just like really handsome man at me. No, I can't resist! And I'll die.
No!
Death by handsome men. I only wish I could have died with a few more.
You just see one in the middle of the summit, and you're like,
Best
no!
mental picture ever.
And like a giant burst of energy like explodes from the building.
Rainbows
A
and
handsome man leaves.
sparkles.
God, that's
Handsome man covered in blood.
So yeah, look forward to that for next year. But until then, you can wait till next week to hear episode 30 of Shredded Cels, where we talk about Anohana. Look forward to that.
Yay.
Spooky boogie.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2012.